Chapter 29:35. From the looks of it, the treasure of this small world should be this Pegasus statue. After confirming that the Pegasus statue in front of him was the treasure of the mountain peak, Mo Qingyun released his divine telekinesis to check on it. Under the observation of Mo Qingyun's divine telekinesis, he realized that the aura of the Pegasus statue was even more ancient than the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. Other than that, the aura of the Pegasus statue and the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell were somewhat similar. This discovery shocked Mo Qingyun quite a bit. According to the description of the lightning ice phoenix spirit, the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell might have come from the heaven realm. The aura of the Pegasus statue was similar to it. Could the Pegasus statue have come from the heaven realm? As this thought flashed through his mind, Mo Qingyun's face was filled with anticipation as he looked at the Pegasus statue more carefully. Wong. As Mo Qingyun was looking at the Pegasus statue, his divine telekinesis suddenly became dizzy and entered a strange space. In front of his consciousness, an 8-winged Pegasus appeared, galloping like a shooting star. Its speed was completely beyond his imagination. It was something he had never seen before. With such speed, even a great emperor elite would not be able to catch up. Looking at the speed of the 8-winged Pegasus, Mo Qingyun could not help but sigh. He could not help but think, if I had such a mount, even if I met a great emperor elite, I would be able to escape with ease. Roar! Just as Mo Qingyun was daydreaming, an intense neigh came from the Pegasus' mouth. Immediately, Mo Qingyun saw the 8-winged Pegasus body begin to undergo a huge change. The 8-winged Pegasus body quickly turned into words, which then turned into an ancient and mysterious technique. This is a cultivation technique. Seeing the transformation of the 8-winged Pegasus, Mo Qingyun was shocked and could not recover for a long time. He vaguely guessed that the treasure of this small world might be related to the Pegasus statue. However, he did not expect that there would be an ancient technique hidden in the Pegasus statue. Just as Mo Qingyun was shocked, the cultivation technique turned into a ray of light and entered his consciousness. Wong. Mo Qingyun's head buzzed as he exited the mysterious space. Retreating from the strange space, Mo Qingyun didn't think too much about it and immediately started studying the cultivation method in his mind. Heavenly Horse Crossing Realms. After comprehending the incantation in his mind, Mo Qingyun had a clear understanding of its situation. Immediately, the shock in Mo Qingyun's heart immediately became stronger. He said, "This spell actually came from the heaven realm, and it's not an ordinary movement spell." Mo Qingyun exclaimed in his heart. His expression became excited, and he unconsciously clenched his fists. With such a movement technique, he would have something to rely on when he went to the heaven realm in the future. When Mo Qingyun thought of this, he no longer hesitated and immediately tried to cultivate the Heavenly Horse Crossing Realm. After studying it for a while, Mo Qingyun realized that the Heavenly Horse Crossing Realm was divided into 5 levels, which were wingless, 2-winged, 4-winged, 6-winged, and 8-winged. According to the description of the technique, as long as one cultivated it to the beginner level, which was to condense the Pegasus form, a great emperor would not be able to catch up. Just the wingless level was already faster than a great emperor. How fast would it be to cultivate it to the 8-winged level? Looks like I underestimated this technique. It's much stronger than I thought. After knowing the level of the Heavenly Horse Crossing Realm, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but sigh. He was even more excited. Immediately, Mo Qingyun stopped thinking about it and started to cultivate the Heavenly Horse Crossing Realm. He thought to himself, when I cultivate the first level of the Heavenly Horse Crossing Realm, I'll have the ability to protect myself when I go to Buzhou Palace. While cultivating the Heavenly Horse Crossing Realm, Mo Qingyun didn't let down his guard. He paid attention to his surroundings. Although it would be difficult for those people to reach the peak with their strength, he couldn't be careless. Moreover, the other 3 palace masters of the 4 dragon palaces in Qinghai might come for revenge after knowing that Zhong Hankai was killed by him. When Mo Qingyun was cultivating, a pure saint power was released from his body. The saint power was released and quickly condensed into the shape of a Pegasus. As the sacred power Pegasus formed, the space around Mo Qingyun started to tremble. Then, a mysterious power passed through the space barrier and supported the Pegasus. Rise! After the Pegasus was condensed, Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate and immediately controlled the Pegasus to gallop away. Under the control of Mo Qingyun's mind, the Pegasus roared and galloped into the sky. The Pegasus was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared and avoided being noticed by the people around it. The Pegasus has left the small world. What shocked Mo Qingyun the most was that the Pegasus took a casual leap and returned to the Dragon Stream in the Star Sea. This discovery really shocked him quite a bit. It was completely beyond his expectations. He originally thought that cultivating the Heavenly Horse Crossing realm would only increase his flying speed. He didn't expect the power of the Heavenly Horse Crossing realm to be far beyond his understanding. The Pegasus that had just condensed with Saint power could actually travel through space. This power was too terrifying. After discovering this, Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate and continued to control the Pegasus. He wanted to see what other abilities the Pegasus had and what surprises it could bring him. However, to Mo Qingyun's disappointment, there was no other discovery. Although there are no new discoveries, this alone is enough. Mo Qingyun sighed in his heart. He calmed down and continued to cultivate in silence. After a while, Mo Qingyun stopped cultivating. Exhaustion appeared on his face. He said, "Although the Pegasus' flying speed is extremely fast, it also consumes a lot of energy. With my current strength, if I want to ride the Pegasus with Saint power, I can at most maintain it for 100 breaths. Although it's only 100 breaths, it shouldn't be a problem to cross a few star regions." When Mo Qingyun thought about it, he smiled and the worry in his heart disappeared. In this way, there was no problem for him to go to Buzhou Palace in time. Not in a hurry to go, Mo Qingyun was in a hurry to leave and began to cultivate to recover his energy. A few hours later, under Mo Qingyun's cultivation, the energy he had expended earlier had been completely recovered. Seeing that his saint power had been recovered, Mo Qingyun didn't want to stay any longer and prepared to go to other places to take a look. When Mo Qingyun left the top of the mountain, he found that the people in the small world had basically left. Most likely, they felt that the treasures on the top of the mountain had nothing to do with them and didn't want to waste any more time. What surprised Mo Qingyun was that Guan Yi and the others didn't leave. They seemed to be waiting for him to leave together. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun didn't think too much about it. His figure flashed and flew towards them. Chapter 2936. Why haven't you left? Mo Qingyun asked with a faint smile as he came to Guan Yi and the others. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Guan Yi said respectfully, "We came with Senior Mo, so of course we have to leave with Mo Qingyun." The people around Guan Yi nodded their heads when they heard what he said. "We know each other, so you don't have to be so formal." Mo Qingyun didn't care much about the change in attitude of Guan Yi and the others. He waved his hand casually and said, "I just killed Zhong Hankai. If you continue to stay with me, you may be hated by the 4 dragon palaces of Qinghai. It's not a good thing for you, so let's go our separate ways." Mo Qingyun didn't wait for Guan Yi and the others to reply before he turned and walked forward. When Mo Qingyun walked forward, a surge of saint power was released from his body and turned into a saint power Pegasus shadow. Riding on the saint power Pegasus shadow, Mo Qingyun's figure swayed a few times before he left the small world. He didn't even use the teleportation formation. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the expressions of Guan Yi and the others trembled, and intense shock emerged in their eyes. This method of Mo Qingyun's really frightened them badly. "I can't see through Senior Mo anymore. I didn't live in vain to know someone like Senior Mo. I can't believe that even Zhong Hankai was killed by him. Fortunately, we didn't offend him before. It's not that we didn't offend him, but Senior Mo didn't care about us." Guan Yi and the other sighed and left the small world. Guan Yi and the others left the small world, but they didn't leave immediately. They wanted to continue exploring. After parting with Guan Yi and the others, Mo Qingyun went deep into the small world. After getting the Pegasus Crossing realms in the small world, he was looking forward to the treasures in the Dragon stream in the Starry Sea. In Mo Qingyun's opinion, if there was a cultivation technique like the Pegasus Crossing realms, there should be other rare treasures. Boom, boom, boom. Not long after Mo Qingyun left the small world, the sound of fierce fighting came from the depths of the Dragon stream in the Star Sea. Hearing the intense sounds of battle, Mo Qingyun's expression changed. His eyes flashed with anticipation as he said, "Such intense sounds of battle. It must be the location of a powerful demon spirit. I wonder what kind of small world will be connected to after this demon spirit was killed." With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed, rushing towards the bottom of the Starry Sea Dragon stream. Swish, swish, swish. Mo Qingyun rode on the Pegasus shadow. His figure flashed a few times in midair, and he arrived at the bottom of the Galaxy Dragon stream. When he arrived at the bottom of the Galaxy Dragon stream, a scene that shocked Mo Qingyun appeared before his eyes. Previously, a demon spirit that was tens of thousands of feet long was fighting fiercely with the 5 of them. The aftermath of the battle was earth-shattering. This is an Emperor Realm dragon spirit. Looking at the 3,000-meter-long demon spirit, Mo Qingyun recognized its origin, and the shock in his heart grew. He didn't expect that the people of the 3 factions would join forces to deal with the Emperor Realm dragon spirit. It was no wonder that after killing Zhong Hankai for so long, no one from the 4 dragon palaces of the Azure Sea had come to avenge him. It turned out that they had come to deal with the Emperor Realm dragon spirit and didn't have time to deal with him. Logically speaking, with the strength of the 3 factions, they shouldn't be able to contend with the Emperor Realm dragon spirit. Looking at the scene in front of him, a strong sense of doubt arose in Mo Qingyun's heart. Immediately, Mo Qingyun focused his mind and observed the situation in front of him. "I see." Under Mo Qingyun's observation, he nodded and understood the reason. He thought to himself, "It turns out that this Emperor Realm dragon spirit only has the cultivation of the Emperor Realm, but it doesn't have the corresponding Great Tao. It can't display the true strength of the Emperor Realm." Mo Qingyun understood this point, and the doubt in his heart immediately had an answer. From the current situation, it will take at most half an hour for the Emperor Realm dragon spirit to be killed. After analyzing the situation in front of him, Mo Qingyun had a clear understanding of the outcome. At the same time, Mo Qingyun formed a plan. Although the Emperor Realm dragon spirit hasn't comprehended the Great Tao and can't display the true strength of the Emperor Realm, it still has the cultivation of the Emperor Realm. It can't be compared to ordinary quasi-emperors. The 7 people of the 3 factions may have joined forces to kill the Emperor Realm dragon spirit, but they're heavily injured and can't display their full strength. When they kill the Emperor Realm dragon spirit, I can take the opportunity to enter the small world and reap some benefits. Mo Qingyun pondered for a moment before he decided not to think too much about it. He just waited silently at the side. Mo Qingyun's observation didn't attract the attention of the 3 factions. In their opinion, a quasi-realm lord kid wouldn't affect them at all. Time passed slowly as Mo Qingyun waited. As time passed, the Emperor Realm dragon spirit's aura began to weaken. "It's about time." Sensing that the Emperor Realm dragon spirit's aura was nearing the point of collapse, Mo Qingyun pulled himself together. At this moment, the Emperor Realm dragon spirit suddenly roared and its aura skyrocketed. Then, Mo Qingyun saw the Emperor Realm dragon spirit crazily charge towards the 3 factions. Bang, bang, bang. Under the attack of the Emperor Realm dragon spirit, the people from the 3 forces were all sent flying, their injuries worsening. After sending the 3 factions flying, the Emperor Realm dragon spirit swung its tail and disappeared without a trace. Escaped. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun's expression was one of shock. He was extremely surprised by this. He didn't expect this to happen at the most crucial moment. After a short moment of surprise, Qingyun didn't hesitate and immediately chased after the Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit. To him, the Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit was already at his mouth. How could he let it escape? Qingyun rode on the Saint Power Pegasus. His figure flashed and disappeared from the spot. Whoosh! When Qingyun's figure appeared again, he caught up to the Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit and blocked its path. Seeing that its path was blocked, the dragon spirit was enraged. It glared at Qingyun with wide eyes. It didn't expect that a quasi-sector Lord Ant would dare to block its path. Roar! The Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit roared and attacked Qingyun. Seeing the Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit attacking, Qingyun wasn't afraid at all and took the initiative to meet it. Then, Qingyun and the Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit began to fight crazily. Qingyun and the Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit's fight immediately caused a huge commotion. Such a commotion immediately attracted people who were looking for opportunities in the surroundings. Soon, a group of people came over and observed the fight between Qingyun and the Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit. When they recognized Qingyun, they immediately froze in place, not daring to believe their eyes. Chapter 29:37. At this moment, the group that came here was Guan Yi and the others who separated from Qingyun. Guan Yi and the others didn't expect to see Qingyun again in such an occasion. Senior Mo, it's actually Senior Mo fighting. The demon spirit that's fighting with Senior Mo seems to be the legendary Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit. It's too terrifying. Even a powerful Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit isn't Senior Mo's match. Guan Yi and the others were shocked when they recognized Qingyun. They thought that Qingyun had used all his strength to kill Zhong Hankai. They didn't expect that Qingyun was still holding back. Someone's here so soon. Qingyun immediately sensed the arrival of Guan Yi and the others, and a sense of surprise rose in his heart. If people from the three forces came, it would be difficult for him to kill the Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit. At the same time, he would be in a bad situation and his future actions would be hindered. If people from the three forces saw his strength, they would definitely join forces to guard against him. After all, to the three forces, Qingyun was an outsider. What a coincidence. Recognizing Guan Yi and the others, Qingyun's expression improved a little, and a faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. To them, if the people here were Guan Yi and the others, it was no doubt the best result. In any case, he had already revealed enough strength in front of Guan Yi and the others, and he didn't mind revealing more. Since Guan Yi and the others are here, the others will definitely come soon. I have to speed up. Although he knew that it was Guan Yi and the others, Qingyun didn't let down his guard and his attacks became fierce. As Qingyun's attacks strengthened, the Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit was suppressed and slowly fell into a passive state. After suppressing the Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit, Qingyun didn't let down his guard at all. Instead, he became more vigilant. Just now, at the last moment of the Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit, that burst of power was extremely terrifying. It was better to be safe than sorry. What if the Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit could still unleash that kind of power at the end of its life? My advantage is speed. I can use my speed to restrain it so that it can't fight back. In order to prevent the dragon spirit from retaliating before its death, Qingyun was extremely careful, constantly circling the dragon spirit and attacking it. In the face of Qingyun's rapid movements, the dragon spirit wanted to counterattack but couldn't find a target. This made it both angry and aggrieved, and it could only roar loudly. But even so, it couldn't change the fact that its injuries were getting worse and worse. 50 breaths later, Qingyun didn't want to waste any more time when he saw that the dragon spirit was completely defenseless. This was because more and more people were gathering around them. He wasn't sure when the three forces would arrive, or if they would stop him from killing the dragon spirit. Die. Looking at the dying dragon spirit, Qingyun's expression turned cold, and he dealt a fatal blow to it. Qingyun held the 9 oxen divine sword, riding on the Saint Power Pegasus, and his figure flashed, directly piercing through the dragon spirit's head. Bang! Under Mo Qingyun's sword, the dragon spirit's head exploded, and its body began to fall. At the same time, the aura it emitted was also rapidly weakening, and a mysterious power was emitted from its body. This power was emitted and turned into a portal, connecting to a small world. To Mo Qingyun's surprise, although the portal was formed, the body of the Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit didn't dissipate. Strange. Looking at the body of the Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit, Mo Qingyun's face was filled with shock, and he was puzzled. Normally, when a demon spirit is killed, its body would dissipate and become a part of the portal. But this one was killed, and its body was preserved. This is too strange. While Mo Qingyun was puzzled, he didn't think much and attacked the body of the Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit. Then, the 1,000-foot-long body of the Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit was taken away by Mo Qingyun. Seeing Mo Qingyun kill the Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit and take away its body, everyone was stunned. Did I see wrongly? Did he really kill the Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit? What's up with his cultivation level? Why is he only a quasi-sector lord? Do you even need to ask? He must be hiding his true cultivation level. No, he didn't hide his cultivation level. His cultivation level is quasi-sector lord. How is this possible? Looking at Mo Qingyun and Midair, the surrounding people were shocked. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. Seeing everyone's expression, Guan Yi and the others shook their heads with a bitter smile. Their feelings were extremely complicated. The more time they spent with Mo Qingyun, the more they realized how terrifying Mo Qingyun was. The small world has appeared. Raising the body of the Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit, Mo Qingyun saw the small world appear. He immediately smiled with joy. Then, he became excited as well, and a strong sense of anticipation arose in his heart. The portal of the Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit was connected to the small world. There must be extraordinary treasures. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun was looking forward to it, a group of people sighed. When those people arrived, the leader of the group looked excited. He looked at the teleportation portal and said, "There's the dragon spirit's chi here. There's also the teleportation portal. Could it be that the dragon spirit was killed and that teleportation portal was formed by it? Very likely. I didn't expect the Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit to be killed. Who has the ability to do so?" Don't worry so much. Since the Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit was killed and turned into a portal to the small world, let's enter the small world first. That's right. Let's enter the small world first. We'll talk about other things after we get the treasures. The group of people from the three forces didn't stop at all and flew towards the portal. Seeing the three forces arrive, the surrounding people immediately retreated and opened up a path for them. They came so quickly, this is a bit troublesome. Mo Qingyun frowned when he saw the arrival of the people from the three forces. His mood became a little heavy. If he entered the portal now, he would undoubtedly attract the attention of the three forces and become the target of public criticism. More importantly, he had just fought a tough battle with the Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit. He only had 70% of his battle strength left. Although the three forces were heavily injured, it would still be difficult for him to fight them. I'll rest and recover first, then I'll slowly settle the score with them. Mo Qingyun weighed in his heart. He made a decision to give up the direct confrontation between the three forces. He was confident that the speed at which he recovered his saint power was much faster than the three forces. Once his saint energy had recovered, it would be much easier for him to deal with the people from the three forces. Chapter 29:38. Mo Qingyun entered the crowd and did not attract the attention of the three forces. Or perhaps, the three forces were not in the mood to pay attention to him at all. When Mo Qingyun discovered that the people from the three factions did not notice him at all, he was no longer worried. Let's find a place to recover first, then enter the small world. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and came to Guan Yi and the others. He said to them, "I need to recover for a while. Protect me for a while." Yes. Guan Yi and the others did not think too much about Mo Qingyun's order and immediately agreed. Then, Mo Qingyun sat down at the foot of a mountain and began to cultivate to recover. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was immersed in cultivation, Guan Yi and the others tensed up and stood guard not far away from him. To them, protecting Mo Qingyun this time was an opportunity to show their goodwill to Mo Qingyun. If they missed this opportunity, they would not have any interaction with Mo Qingyun in the future. Seeing Guan Yi and the others' actions, the surrounding people were envious and wished they could exchange places with them. As far as they were concerned, being able to befriend a powerhouse like Mo Qingyun was a tremendous opportunity. Feeling the others' envious gazes, the smiles on Guan Yi and the others' faces immediately became wider. Then, they focused even more and guarded Mo Qingyun's surroundings. Then, Mo Qingyun immersed himself in cultivating to recover under the protection of Guan Yi and the others. A few hours later, after a few hours of cultivation, the same power that he used in the battle had completely recovered. After his battle prowess recovered to its peak state, Mo Qingyun withdrew from his cultivation. He stood up and walked towards Guan Yi and the others. He said, "Thank you for your trouble this time. I owe you a favor. If you need my help in the future, you can crush this jade talisman to find me." After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he took out a jade talisman and handed it to Guan Yi and the others. Thank you, Senior Mo." Looking at the jade talisman that Mo Qingyun handed over, Guan Yi and the others were excited. They felt like they were going to cry tears of joy. After handing over the jade talisman to Guan Yi and the others, Mo Qingyun didn't speak any further and directly turned around and left. It had already been several hours since the three forces entered the small world. He had to enter the small world as soon as possible, lest they beat him to it. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed a few times before he entered the teleportation gate and arrived in the miniature world. The space of this small world was clearly much larger than the previous few. Mo Qingyun looked around and saw no end in sight. There were only huge mountain ranges. Roar! As Mo Qingyun scanned his surroundings, a deep dragon roar suddenly appeared in his mind. Following that, a strong suction force acted on his body. This feeling, it's as if something is summoning me. Sensing the strange feeling, Mo Qingyun was shocked and immediately looked in the direction of the summoning. Mo Qingyun thought for a moment, then rode on the Saint Power Pegasus and flew towards the source of the summoning. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed a few times, and he arrived at the source of the summoning. He saw a huge rock cave. Standing outside the cave, Mo Qingyun could clearly feel a powerful energy fluctuation emanating from it. What a terrifying power, even stronger than the Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit. Sensing the energy fluctuation in the rock cave, Mo Qingyun's expression immediately tensed and he became vigilant. Given his current strength, it was still very dangerous for him to face a peak Great Emperor. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Standing at the entrance of the rock cave, Mo Qingyun hesitated for a moment before he finally walked in. Once he entered the rock cave, the summoning feeling on his body immediately became stronger. Immediately, Mo Qingyun followed the summoning and went deeper into the rock cave. What on earth is summoning me? While Mo Qingyun was moving forward, he was also pondering in his mind. He was curious and puzzled. As Mo Qingyun pondered, he came to the bottom of the rock cave and saw a huge dragon horse corpse. What kind of monster is this? Its aura is so terrifying. Looking at the dragon horse corpse in front of him, Mo Qingyun's face was filled with shock, and he was stunned on the spot. He was sure that the dragon horse in front of him was definitely stronger than the Emperor Realm when it was alive. Could it be from the Heaven Realm? While Mo Qingyun was shocked, he was also pondering the situation. In his opinion, only the mysterious and distant Heaven Realm could have such a powerful existence. As Mo Qingyun was thinking, a 10-winged dragon horse shadow flew out of the dragon horse corpse. Lucky little guy. Congratulations on obtaining my inheritance. As the dragon horse shadow flew out of the corpse, it showed a gratified look and nodded at Mo Qingyun. Hearing the dragon horse shadow's words, Mo Qingyun was confused. He did not understand. Seeing Mo Qingyun's confusion, the dragon horse shadow raised its head and emitted a terrifying power. Roar! Immediately, the holy power Pegasus under Mo Qingyun jumped violently. Seeing the holy power Pegasus's performance, Mo Qingyun finally understood why he felt the summoning. It turned out that the heavenly horse crossing realm that he cultivated was related to the dragon horse corpse in front of him. 10-winged dragon horse? After resolving his doubts, Mo Qingyun's mind worked quickly and he immediately guessed a possibility. He said, could it be that the heavenly horse crossing realm doesn't only have 5 layers but 6? The 6th layer is the 10-winged dragon horse? Seeing Mo Qingyun's expression change, the dragon horse shadow nodded in praise. As if it could tell what Mo Qingyun was thinking, it said, little guy, you've guessed correctly. The heavenly horse crossing realm that you cultivate is indeed derived from my Taisher dragon soaring horse technique. Taisher's technique. Mo Qingyun was surprised once again when he heard the dragon horse shadow's words. He had learned from Chun that Taisher was the beginning of all living beings. They were all born from the fortune of the world. In other words, the dragon horse before him was a Taisher. This discovery truly frightened Mo Qingyun. He was unable to return to his senses for quite a while. He had never thought that his fortuitous encounter this time would be related to a Taisher. Little guy, the senses of my soul conflict with this world. I can't exist for long. Prepare to accept my legacy. While Mo Qingyun was still in shock, the dragon horse phantom used an urgent tone to remind Mo Qingyun while it was asleep. Afterwards, Mo Qingyun saw the dragon horse shadow cast out a strange inscription. As soon as the rune appeared, it turned into an incantation and flew into the top of his head. After the chant entered his head, Mo Qingyun's head immediately buzzed. He experienced intense pain. Chapter 29:39. After an unknown amount of time, Mo Qingyun regained consciousness. When Mo Qingyun regained consciousness, the dragon horse shadow had already disappeared, and the dragon horse corpse was no longer emitting any aura. Looks like the inheritance is over. Seeing that everything had returned to normal, Mo Qingyun nodded in understanding, roughly guessing what had happened. Then, Mo Qingyun focused his attention on the cultivation technique in his mind. Under Mo Qingyun's probing, he discovered that there was an additional golden light in his mind. This golden light that was sent into his mind by the dragon horse shadow. Taisher soaring dragon horse transformation technique. After observing the golden light, Mo Qingyun had a clear understanding of its content. After knowing the golden light's content, Mo Qingyun ignored it. With his current comprehension of heavenly horse crossing realm, there was still a long way to go before he could cultivate the Taisher soaring dragon horse transformation technique. My cultivation has actually broken through to the World Lord realm. When Mo Qingyun probed the Taisher soaring dragon horse transformation technique, he was surprised to discover that his cultivation had actually broken through. This discovery was a pleasant surprise to him, and he couldn't help feeling excited. Now that his cultivation had broken through to the World Lord realm, he had more confidence heading to the Buzhou Palace. In that case, it's time for me to leave this place. Seeing that his goal had been achieved, Mo Qingyun didn't want to stay any longer. Looking at the dragon horse corpse in front of him, Mo Qingyun hesitated for a moment before putting it into the Fortune mainland. Then his figure flickered flying out of the stone cave. Mo Qingyun's figure flickered a few times, and he was already outside the stone cave, ready to explore other places. This small world was very big, and he wasn't sure if there were any other places to hide treasures. At this moment, just as Mo Qingyun left the stone cave, he saw people from the 3 forces rushing in his direction. When Mo Qingyun saw them, they also noticed his presence, and each of them revealed a surprised expression. Someone actually beat us to it and found the treasury of the small world. This brat just came out. He must have taken the treasure. A kid at the initial stage of the World Lord realm actually dares to lay his hands on the treasures here. Truly courting death. This kid seems a little familiar. He seemed to be a quasi-sector lord before. In just a few hours, he broke through from the quasi-sector lord realm to the sector lord realm. He must have obtained a precious treasure. Everyone observed Mo Qingyun and noticed a change in Mo Qingyun. His expression immediately turned cold. Soon after, they surrounded Mo Qingyun, cutting off Mo Qingyun's escape route. Surrounding Mo Qingyun in the middle, Heiyu blinked her beautiful eyes and smiled seductively at Mo Qingyun. "Little brother, you are very naughty. You actually stole our things." "Stealing? No, I don't think so." Hearing Heiyu's words, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and shook his head. "The things here don't belong to anyone. I took them away. How can you say that I stole from you?" Mo Qingyun's reply caused Heiyu and the others to become excited. According to what Mo Qingyun said, he should have obtained quite a few treasures from the rock cave. After learning from Mo Qingyun that he had obtained treasures from the rock cave, Heiyu covered her mouth and smiled. "Little brother, big sister doesn't want to make things difficult for you. If you hand over the treasures, I will only break your legs. How about it?" "Hall Master Heiyu, you only broke his legs. Could it be that you still want to keep one leg to enjoy?" Wei Xian, who was standing not far away, mocked Heiyu as soon as she finished speaking. Heiyu's pretty face turned cold when she heard Wei Shiyuan's words. She turned her head with a faint smile and said, "Sect Master Wei, what do you mean? I don't understand. Why don't you give me some pointers?" "No, nothing." Wei Shiyuan's face twitched when he sensed Heiyu's cold gaze. He felt a chill. He knew very well that Heiyu's current behavior was a manifestation of her anger. Seeing that Wei Shiyuan did not speak, Heiyu looked at Mo Qingyun and waited for Mo Qingyun's reply. Mo Qingyun looked at Heiyu and the others before him with a calm expression. He pretended to wave his hand helplessly and said, "There are so many of you here. Who should I give the things I obtained from the rock cave to?" When Mo Qingyun said this, the expressions of the people from the three factions immediately became tense and cold. In an instant, some ill feelings arose between the three factions. Noticing this, Zhong Mingqi, the South Palace master of the 4 dragon palaces of the Qinghai Sea, snorted coldly. "Humph! What a sinister and cunning boy. You're already a fish on the chopping board, yet you still want to sow discord. Watch this old man kill you first, then search for the treasures on your body." After Zhong Mingqi finished speaking, his figure flashed and flew directly toward Mo Qingyun. Seeing Zhong Mingqi's action, Heiyu, Wei Shiyuan, and the others' expressions immediately became tense. In their opinion, Zhong Mingqi's attack on Mo Qingyun was not just to teach him a lesson. Zhong Mingqi's current action was clearly to capture Mo Qingyun so that the 4 dragon palaces of the Qinghai Sea could monopolize the treasure. Seeing that Zhong Mingqi was attacking him, Mo Qingyun did not panic at all. He said with a disdainful expression, "Shameless old thing. You want to capture me so that the 4 dragon palaces of the Qinghai Sea can monopolize the treasure. Just say it directly. Why do you have to be so secretive?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhong Mingqi's old face twitched. He had a strong feeling that something bad was going to happen. Then, he saw Heiyu, Wei Shiyuan, and the others attacking him together to stop him. "Guys, don't listen to this boy's nonsense. He's trying to sow discord." Seeing the actions of Heiyu and the others, Zhong Mingqi panicked and immediately explained to them. However, his explanation was extremely pale and powerless in the ears of Heiyu and the others. Bang, bang, bang. Under the attacks of Heiyu and the others, Zhong Mingqi was immediately forced back. The qi and blood in his body were surging. The injuries that he had suppressed just now broke out at this moment, making him unable to fight for a short period of time. Seeing Zhong Mingqi's situation, the East Palace Master of the 4 dragon palaces of the Qinghai Sea, Zhong Peak, looked at them with a gloomy expression and said angrily, "Guys, what do you mean by this? Do you think that the 4 dragon palaces of the Qinghai Sea are easy to bully?" Hearing Zhong Peak's words, Heiyu, Wei Shiyuan, and the others' expressions immediately became tense. Immediately after, The people from the two forces instinctively drew closer to each other. For a moment, the atmosphere between the three forces became a little tense. Interesting. Seeing the scene in front of him, the smile on Mo Qingyun's face immediately became wider. When he saw Zhong Mingqi next to him, his eyes lit up and he had a plan in his mind. Chapter 2940. Mo Qingyun's action quickly attracted everyone's attention. Seeing Mo Qingyun flying towards Zhong Mingqi, everyone was shocked and puzzled. Just now, Zhong Mingqi wanted to capture Mo Qingyun, but Mo Qingyun was stopped by He Yu and the others. Now, he took the initiative to fly towards Zhong Mingqi. Wasn't this strange? Of course, they didn't expect that Mo Qingyun was flying towards Zhong Mingqi to send him on his way. What does this kid want to do? Does he want to surrender to the 4 dragon palaces of Qinghai? It should be like this. He can see that the 4 dragon palaces of Qinghai is powerful, so he chose to surrender to them. We can't let him succeed, or we won't get a share of his treasures. He Yu and the others discussed and then rushed towards Mo Qingyun, ready to block Mo Qingyun's path. Seeing Mo Qingyun flying towards them, Zhong Peak and the others were stunned at first. Then they laughed and said, "Guys, this kid took the initiative to offer his treasures, so don't blame us." Zhong Peak laughed and nodded to Mo Qingyun. "Little guy, you're a man who understands the situation. I won't treat you unfairly." When Zhong Peak spoke, he didn't hesitate and immediately flew towards He Yu and the others, stopping them from getting close to Mo Qingyun. "EC Palace Lord, I hope you remember what you said now." Hearing Zhong Peak's words, Mo Qingyun smiled meaningfully and reminded him. Zhong Peak didn't understand the hidden meaning in Mo Qingyun's words. He immediately laughed heartily and said, "Of course, I always keep my words." Mo Qingyun smiled evilly and didn't respond to Zhong Peak. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed a few times, and he arrived in front of Zhong Mingqi, his eyes flashing with a playful look. "Brat, at least you know what's good for you. Give the treasure to this old man." Zhong Mingqi had a solemn expression on his face as he looked at Mo Qingyun who had arrived in front of him. He commanded Mo Qingyun. In his eyes, even if Mo Qingyun took the initiative to surrender, he was still the one who caused his injuries to relapse. This was a debt that he could not easily suppress, and he would not let it go so easily. "Give you treasures? What are you thinking about?" In response to Zhong Mingqi's words, Mo Qingyun curled his lips and said, "I'm not here to offer you treasures. I'm here to send you on your way." As Mo Qingyun's words fell, he took out the 9-bull divine sword and stabbed towards Zhong Mingqi. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Zhong Mingqi was shocked and actually forgot to dodge. He had never imagined that Mo Qingyun would actually be so bold as to actually dare to come and make a move against him. With a flash of sword light, a sharp sword ray shot out from the 9-bull divine sword. Puchi! The sword ray flashed and pierced through Zhong Mingqi's head, directly dispersing his primordial spirit. Shortly after, Zhong Mingqi's eyes lost focus, and he was instantly killed by Mo Qingyun. Seeing such a scene, everyone was stunned and felt like their brains weren't enough. Didn't Mo Qingyun surrender to the Azure Sea 4 Dragon Palace? Why did he suddenly attack and kill Zhong Mingqi? The situation changed too quickly, and everyone couldn't react in time. He killed Zhong Mingqi with his brat's early-stage sector lord cultivation. How could he kill Zhong Mingqi? Even if Zhong Mingqi was heavily injured and caught off guard, he shouldn't have been instantly killed, right? There's something wrong with this brat. Let's be careful. Seeing such a sudden change, He Yu and the others had a heavy expression and were on guard. They faintly felt that although Mo Qingyun seemed harmless, he was actually extremely dangerous. "Brat, how dare you?" Seeing Zhong Mingqi killed, Zhong Peak was enraged. He clenched his fists and his veins popped out. The difference was too great, and he couldn't accept it. While Zhong Peak was raging, West Sea Palace Master Zhong Wuxing suddenly revealed a shocked expression and said, Big brother, I remember now. He's the one who killed fourth brother." When fourth brother was killed, he sent me a soul message and described his appearance. Because fourth brother described him as a quasi-sector lord, I didn't think too much about it. I didn't expect him to have broken through to the sector lord realm. Hearing Zhong Wuxing's words, "Hey you," and the others' expressions became even more interesting. They really didn't expect Mo Qingyun to not only kill Zhong Mingqi, but also Zhong Hankai. Such actions were simply too crazy. Even the four of them wouldn't dare to kill Zhong Mingqi and the others unless they had no other choice. Good, very good. In his rage, Zhong Peak's face turned as dark as ink. He gnashed his teeth and said coldly, "Boy, you're the only one in the past 900 million years who has truly angered this old man. I will definitely make you beg for death." Looking at the angry Zhong Peak, Mo Qingyun was not afraid at all. He looked indifferent and said, "Donghai Palace Lord, you are a man of your word. You can't go back on your words. You just said that you would not treat me unfairly." Umph. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhong Peak snorted coldly and didn't even say anything. He said he wouldn't mistreat Mo Qingyun, but that was only after Mo Qingyun gave him the treasures. Now, Mo Qingyun didn't just kill Zhong Mingqi, he also killed Zhong Hankai. It was impossible for Zhong Peak to nurture him. Zhong Peak said coldly. His figure flashed as he launched an attack on Mo Qingyun. Seeing Zhong Peak make a move, the Zhongwu planet also didn't watch and attacked Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun wasn't afraid at all. He looked at He Yu and the others and said, "I killed Zhong Hankai and Zhong Mingqi, so the strength of your three forces can be maintained at the same level. Aren't you going to thank me and help me?" Mo Qingyun's words caused the expressions of He Yu and the others to become complicated all of a sudden. With their intelligence, they could naturally tell that Mo Qingyun was trying to drag them down. Immediately, they felt wronged. This had nothing to do with them. Sure enough, after hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhong Peak and He Yu's eyes turned cold. Sect Master Zhong Peak, this kid killed Zhong Mingqi and Zhong Hankai. It has nothing to do with us. Under Zhong Peak's gaze, Wei Shiyuan immediately expressed his stance and distanced himself from the matter. He added, "Also, you can rest assured that we will definitely not interfere in the enmity between you and this brat." After Wei Shiyuan finished speaking, he stepped back to prove his words. Seeing Wei Shiyuan's actions, He Yu hesitated for a moment and also stepped back. Seeing He Yu and the other three's actions, Zhong Peak's expression turned better and he felt less worried. Chapter 2941. The four of you. Have you never thought of destroying the Azure Sea's 4 dragon palaces? Mo Qingyun was not surprised by He Yu and the other three's reaction. He smiled evilly and said, "Now that the two of them are seriously injured, this is the best opportunity to get rid of them. If we miss this opportunity, it will be difficult to do it again." When they heard Mo Qingyun's words, He Yu and the other three's expressions changed. They exchanged glances with each other. It was obvious that Mo Qingyun's words had moved them a little. Seeing the reaction of He Yu and the other three, Zhong Peak and the other two's expressions immediately tensed up. Zhong Peak quickly said, "The four of you, you are deliberately instigating us. Don't be fooled. If you help him kill us, he will definitely deal with you. If you help me kill this brat, the two of us will not take a share of the treasures they obtain. How about it?" When they heard Zhong Peak's words, He Yu and the others became even more excited. Compared to getting rid of Zhong Peak and the other two, they were more interested in the treasures on Mo Qingyun's body. More importantly, they believed that Mo Qingyun was easier to deal with. "All right, we accept your proposal. I hope that Palace Master Zhong Peak will keep his promise. If you go back on your words, then don't blame our two sects for being unjust." After accepting Zhong Peak's proposal, He Yu and the others stopped watching and surrounded Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun was not afraid of the actions of Zhong Peak and the others. He shook his head at He Yu and the others and said, "Your decision is the biggest mistake you have made in your lives. Not only will you not be able to destroy the Azure Sea's 4 dragon palaces and obtain the treasures, but you will also destroy your own sect. When he heard Mo Qingyun's words, Zone Peak snorted coldly. He had a disdainful expression as he said, "Brat, you are already at death's door, and you are still trying to mislead people with your lies. Zone Peak, do you think you can keep me here with him?" Mo Qingyun's mouth twitched in disdain as he swept his gaze across He Yu's group. He proudly raised his head and said, "If I, Mo Qingyun, want to leave, let alone the 6 of you, even 6 more of you won't be able to stop me." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, a violent wave of saint power erupted from his body. Soon after, the saint energy turned into a Pegasus, and he rode on it. Mo Qingyun materialized the holy power Pegasus, and in a flash he escaped from the encirclement of the 6 people. What kind of divine ability is that? It can actually pierce through space. More importantly, when he passed through space, there wasn't even the slightest fluctuation of the laws of space. This is troublesome. This brat has such a remarkable ability. We can't stop him at all. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Black Moon and the others started to panic. They knew clearly that if they let Mo Qingyun go today, there would be hidden dangers in the future. Immediately, the 6 of them exchanged glances and chased after Mo Qingyun. Looking at the 6 people chasing after him, Mo Qingyun's lips curled into a mocking smile. "Listen up. I can kill Zhong Mingqi and Zhong Hankai, and I can also kill the 6 of you. But I don't want to kill you yet. I'll keep your heads for now. You better watch out for me. However, I won't kill you now, but I can take care of them first." After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he rode on the holy power Pegasus and flashed away. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Next, they saw Mo Qingyun's figure constantly moving to different locations. Every time Mo Qingyun showed himself, he would swing the 9-bull divine sword and slash at the people from the 3 forces. These people were only in the advanced or pinnacle sector lord realm. How could they resist Mo Qingyun's violent attacks? Under Mo Qingyun's relentless attacks, one person after another was killed. It was a scene of a massacre. Seeing this, Zone Peak was enraged. He roared with a pale face, "Kid, stop. Otherwise, if I catch you, I'll turn you into ashes." Mo Qingyun didn't care about Zone Peak's angry roar at all. He continued to kill at a steady pace. Seeing their sect members being killed one after another, Black Moon and the other 3's faces gradually turned pale. They faintly felt that it was a mistake for them to agree to help Zone Peak. After a while, under Mo Qingyun's crazy massacre, everyone from the 3 forces except Zone Peak and the other 5 were killed. Seeing this result, Zone Peak and the other 5 were enraged. The veins on their necks bulged as they gritted their teeth. Mo Qingyun was too ruthless. The people who came with them this time were the mainstays of their sections. Now that they were all killed by Mo Qingyun, the strength of their sects would drop by a level. I played enough. It's time to say goodbye. After killing everyone from the 3 forces, Mo Qingyun pulled away from them. He wasn't willing to stay any longer. Seeing Mo Qingyun preparing to leave, Zone Peak and the other 5 weren't willing to give up and immediately chased after him. Seeing Zone Peak and the other 5 catch up, Mo Qingyun slowed down. He turned and smiled at them. "You don't have to be anxious. We'll meet again in a few days." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, his figure flashed and disappeared before the eyes of the 6 people. Seeing Mo Qingyun disappear, the 6 stopped and clenched their fists. Killing intent surged. They didn't expect that they would be played by a sector lord kid. "The 4 of you, I've implicated you this time. I'll definitely compensate you in the future." Worried that He Yu and the other 3 would vent their anger on him, Zone Peak took the initiative to say something to ease their anger. Hearing Zone Peak's words, Wei Shiyuan waved his hand and said with a cold expression, "Palace Lord Zone Peak, it's good that you have such intentions. The Azure Sea 4 Dragon Palaces suffered the greatest loss. As for the compensation, forget it. It's all that kid's fault. He's too cunning. He actually hid so deeply and tricked us." As soon as Wei Shiyuan finished speaking, He Yu's expression darkened as he spoke angrily. "That's right, before that brat escaped, he seemed to have said that we'll meet again in a few days. What did that mean? Could it be that he's also going to Buzhou Palace to participate in Palace Lord Qiu's celebration? Wei Shiyuan's expression changed as he spoke out his guess. Hearing Wei Shiyuan's words, Zhong Peak and the others nodded. They felt that it was very possible. Zhong Peak said coldly, "When we reach Buzhou Palace, we'll report to Palace Lord Qiu and tell him about that kid. At that time, Palace Lord Qiu will make a move. That kid's abilities are great, and he won't be of any use." After hearing Zhong Peak's idea, Wei Shiyuan and the others nodded and sneered. Chapter 2942. After shaking off Zhong Peak and the others, Mo Qingyun was not in a hurry to leave. Instead, he flew to another place. He wanted to see if there were any other treasures hidden in this small world. Mo Qingyun searched for half a day, but did not find anything, so he gave up. It seems that there are no other treasures in this small world. With such a result, Mo Qingyun did not stay any longer and left the small world in a flash. Coming out of the small world, Mo Qingyun did not stay any longer and began to fly out of the starry scene dragon stream. He had already explored the small world that the Emperor Realm Dragon Spirit led to, so there was not much point in going to other small worlds. It's time to go to the Buzhou Palace. Coming out of the starry scene dragon stream, Mo Qingyun did not stop and began to rush to the Buzhou Palace. In the following time, Mo Qingyun rode the Saint Power Flying Dragon and traveled day and night. Along the way, if he consumed too much Saint Power, he would stop to cultivate and recover. A few days later, with Mo Qingyun rushing at full speed, he arrived at the Buzhou Palace and saw many people coming to congratulate him. Mo Qingyun glanced around and looked at the groups of people who came to congratulate him. He nodded and said, "It seems that Zhong Peak and the others have not arrived yet and are still on the way." Knowing that Zhong Peak and the others had not come, Mo Qingyun's expression relaxed a little, and he walked toward the entrance of the Buzhou Palace. At this moment, as Mo Qingyun was walking forward, there was a commotion behind him. "Quick! Look, the husky Quasi-Emperor is here." I can't believe that after so many years, the husky Quasi-Emperor is still alone. The husky Quasi-Emperor pursues mutual love. With his cultivation, it is naturally difficult. Those with low cultivation who are with him are completely relying on his strength. It is impossible to truly love him. Those with high cultivation, after seeing his appearance, will give up the idea of being with him. Hearing the discussion behind him, Mo Qingyun stopped and turned his head to look. A young man with a fat head and big ears slowly walked up to Qing Buzhou Palace. Indeed, you can't judge a book by its cover. I didn't expect this person to be a quasi-emperor. Looking at the husky quasi-emperor slowly approaching, Mo Qingyun's eyes flashed with surprise, and he could not help but take a few more glances. Sensing Mo Qingyun's gaze, the husky quasi-emperor turned his head towards him, revealing a complicated expression. I never thought that I, Hahada, would one day feel that a young man is devastatingly beautiful. I have indeed been single for too long. Hearing Hauda's words, Mo Qingyun was speechless. He couldn't help but sigh with emotion. This Hahada was truly of the highest quality. What Mo Qingyun didn't expect was that just as he was about to withdraw his gaze, Hahada walked over to him and said, "Little brother, both of us came here alone. I presume that we're both in the same boat. Why don't we go to the banquet together?" "All right." Hearing Hahada's suggestion, Mo Qingyun hesitated for a moment before nodding in agreement. Although he didn't know why Hahada wanted to go with him, an invitation from a quasi-emperor was not something he could easily reject. If Hahada was angered and dissatisfied because of his rejection, it would undoubtedly cause more trouble. It would cause a lot of inconvenience and trouble for his following actions. Moreover, if he went with Hahada, it would also reduce a lot of trouble. Even if Zhong Peak and the others arrived and saw him with Hahada, they would most likely be wary of him. "Let's go in." Seeing Mo Qingyun nod in agreement, Hahada led the way. Then, Mo Qingyun and Hahada walked into Qing Buzhou Palace together. Seeing such a scene, The surrounding people were all stunned, unable to recover for a long time. That kid's luck is too good. To be recognized by the husky quasi-emperor, this kid is really an old cow. I wonder where that kid is from. I must make friends with him later. Some quick-witted people immediately followed behind Mo Qingyun. They thought that it would be very difficult to make friends with Hahada, but it would be much easier to make friends with Mo Qingyun. Sensing the people behind him, Mo Qingyun's lips curled up slightly, revealing a faint smile. He couldn't be more clear about what these people were thinking. However, Mo Qingyun did not expose those people's intentions. In Mo Qingyun's opinion, when Zone Peak and the others arrived, these people would naturally hide far away. Wandering Cultivator, Hahada. True Beginning Demon Palace, Missouri, Qingyun. Mo Qingyun and Hahada arrived at the entrance and reported their identities. When Mo Qingyun reported his identity, the surrounding people immediately looked at him with a huge change in their eyes. Everyone was very clear in their hearts what kind of relationship existed between the true, absolute beginning Devil Hall and the prime clear Buzhou Palace. You are a disciple of true beginning Demon Palace? After knowing Mo Qingyun's identity, Hahada revealed a look of surprise and stared at Mo Qingyun with wide eyes. It was clear that Mo Qingyun's identity had frightened him quite a bit. If he got too close to Mo Qingyun, Qing Buzhou Palace might bear a grudge against him. That's right. Mo Qingyun did not hide it and nodded calmly. Now that you know my identity, do you regret teaming up with me? If that's the case, I won't make things difficult for you. We'll move separately from now on. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Hada didn't mind and smiled. He waved his hand at Mo Qingyun and said, "Little brother, you're underestimating me too much. Although I'm not as successful in love, I've never been afraid of anyone when it comes to fists." Hahada's behavior surprised Mo Qingyun, and he had a good impression of him. Knowing that he would encounter many troubles in Qing Buzhou Palace, Hahada was still willing to attend the banquet with him. From this, it could be seen that Hahada had a good character and was someone worth befriending. After expressing his attitude, Hahada frowned slightly. "Little brother, the relationship between the true, absolute beginning Devil Hall and the Buzhou Palace is very bad. You have come as a representative of the true, absolute beginning Devil Hall, so the people of the Buzhou Palace will definitely make things difficult for you. You need to be careful. No need to worry. Since I've hurried over, I've naturally thought of this." Mo Qingyun smiled nonchalantly. He glanced at Hahada and said, "I don't want to waste too many trump cards on some insignificant people. When the time comes, I'll have to trouble Brother Haha to help me intimidate them. As for big trouble, you can do it yourself. I've already thought of a countermeasure. Just a small matter. Leave it to me." Hada patted his chest and agreed to Mo Qingyun's request with a straightforward look on his face. Chapter 2943. Little brother, can you tell me about the plan you mentioned just now? After agreeing to Mo Qingyun's request, Haha rubbed his hands curiously. Obviously, Mo Qingyun kept him in suspense and aroused his curiosity. Looking at Haha, Mo Qingyun smiled bitterly and shook his head helplessly. "Sorry, I can't tell you for now. You will know when the time comes." Hearing Mo Qingyun's reply, Haha was disappointed. However, he didn't ask further and forced Mo Qingyun to tell him. "Let's go in," Mo Qingyun said and walked into the Buzhou Palace, heading towards the guest room that was arranged for him. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Haha hurriedly followed. His gaze towards Mo Qingyun also changed. The more he observed Mo Qingyun, the more Haha discovered that Mo Qingyun was extraordinary. At the same time, the confusion in his heart grew stronger. At his age, his cultivation has reached the Sector Lord realm. He is simply a monstrous genius. For such a genius, the absolute beginning Devil Hall has no reason to abandon him and send him to his death in the Buzhou Palace. It's really strange. The more Haha thought about it, the more confused he was. His curiosity towards Mo Qingyun also grew stronger. Mo Qingyun and Haha didn't walk far before their path was blocked by a group of people. Seeing that his path was blocked, Mo Qingyun stopped and looked indifferently at the people before him. What is the meaning of this? Seeing their actions, Haha guessed what they were thinking. If he wasn't wrong, these people should be trying to cause trouble for Mo Qingyun by blocking their path. Since he had promised Mo Qingyun to help him solve some small problems, he couldn't just stand by and watch. So it's Senior Haha. Hearing Haha's words, the people in front trembled and hurriedly bowed. Senior, please calm down. We didn't mean to offend you, but for this kid. This kid is a disciple of the absolute beginning Devil Hall. We want to learn from him and see what he is capable of. When they spoke, their expressions were cold as they glared angrily at Mo Qingyun. Seeing their expressions, Haha snorted. I'm not in a good mood now. Scram immediately. Don't talk nonsense here. Scram. As soon as Howda finished speaking, he released his aura and pressed down on the few of them. Bang, bang, bang. Under Haha's aura, they were all forced to retreat, and their faces turned red. From the looks of it, under Harhad's aura, they were shaken to the point that their vital energy and blood surged. Senior, please calm down. We will leave. Seeing that Haha was angry, the people from the Buzhou Palace were so scared that they immediately left with their tails between their legs. However, before they left, they still glared at Mo Qingyun. Kid, consider yourself lucky this time. With Senior Haha, we will definitely teach you a lesson next time. Those people left behind some harsh words and left with their tails between their legs. With you around, it really saves a lot of trouble. Seeing the people from the Buzhou Palace leave, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and cast a grateful look at Haha. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Haha shook his head disapprovingly. Even if I don't do anything, I'm afraid they can't do anything to you. This is different. If I do it myself, it will be a little troublesome. Mo Qingyun didn't agree with Haha's words. He simply explained, if I do it myself, once I injure someone, the people from the Buzhou Palace will definitely come and help the disciples of the sect take revenge. Indeed, Haha nodded in agreement. While Mo Qingyun and Haha were talking, they entered the guest room. Looking at his guest room and Haha's guest room, Mo Qingyun felt helpless. His guest room was really just a guest room. At a glance, it was just an ordinary wooden house without even a small courtyard. Although Haha's guest room wasn't particularly luxurious, it still had a courtyard and a small bridge. It seems that Cho Xing has broken through to the Emperor realm and is preparing to attack the absolute beginning demon palace. Seeing the state of Mo Qingyun's guest room, Haha couldn't help but sigh. He vaguely sensed something. Then, Haha waved his hand and said, My courtyard is big enough and I have enough rooms. If you don't mind, you can stay in the same courtyard as me. This way, I can also attack when those kids come looking for trouble. Hearing Haha's suggestion, Mo Qingyun hesitated for a moment before accepting Haha's suggestion. Then, Mo Qingyun walked towards Haha and entered his courtyard. Mo Qingyun entered the courtyard and didn't say much. He walked directly to a room and said, I've used up a lot of my saint power on the way here. I'll go into seclusion to cultivate for a while. If there's anything, just send me a message. Okay. Haha nodded. Then, Mo Qingyun entered the room and immersed himself in cultivation. Seeing Mo Qingyun enter the room, Haha frowned and was puzzled. He said, Ordinary half-step great emperors aren't as calm as he is in front of me. This kid is really strange. I'm getting more and more interested in him. Interesting. Haha muttered to himself. He didn't stay any longer and walked into another room. After that, everything returned to normal. During this time, there were a few waves of Buzhou Palace disciples who were scared off by Haha's aura. After scaring off a few waves of people, no one dared to come again. Time passed slowly, and the banquet slowly approached. While Mo Qingyun was cultivating, Zhong Peak and the other 5 arrived. The arrival of Zhong Peak and the other 5 immediately attracted a lot of attention. They were warmly welcomed by Buzhou Palace. 6 half-step great emperors came together. This was quite a shocking scene. Under the hospitality of Buzhou Palace, Zhong Peak's expression was solemn. He said in a deep voice, Gu Hongyi, Xianqing, we have something important to discuss with Palace Master Qiu. Can you pass on our message? Oh. Hearing Zhong Peak's words, Gu Hongyi's expression changed slightly. His eyes were filled with curiosity. In his opinion, with Zong Peak and the other five's identities, the important matter must be something important. Thinking of this, Gu Hengyi's face was filled with curiosity. He asked, "The six of you, I wonder what you have to report to the palace master. This is very important. Please forgive us, Xian Qing. We can't tell you now." Hearing Gu Hengyi's question, Zong Peak showed an apologetic expression and shook his head. Hearing Zong Peak's words, Gu Hengyi didn't ask anymore. He said in a deep voice, "In that case, please wait for a moment. I will pass on the message. As for whether the palace master is willing to meet you, this old man can't make the decision." "Thank you." Hearing Gu Hengyi's words, Zong Peak and the others hurriedly cupped their hands. Chapter 2944. In the true demon palace of absolute beginning, in the Frostfall Lake. You're finally breaking through to the great Emperor realm. Sensing the change in Lame Yuan's aura, the lightning ice phoenix's spirit's expression changed slightly. As the lightning ice phoenix's spirit spoke, Lame Yuan's aura reached a new level. Her cultivation had finally broken through and entered the great Emperor realm. After Lame Yuan made a breakthrough in her cultivation, she stopped cultivating and opened her beautiful eyes to look at her surroundings. Looking around and not seeing Mo Qingyun's figure, Lame Yuan's face tensed up. She asked, "Senior, why isn't Qingyun here? Where did he go?" "He left not long after you went into seclusion. He should have gone to the Buzhou Palace." The lightning ice phoenix's spirit didn't hide anything from Lame Yuan's question and directly told her where Mo Qingyun went. Lame Yuan's expression changed when she heard the lightning ice phoenix's spirit's words. She felt a strong sense of unease. Although Qingyun isn't weak, it's still very difficult for him to go against Chou Xing. Thinking of Mo Qingyun's strength, Lame Yuan felt anxious. She hurriedly asked the lightning ice phoenix's spirit, "Senior, how long have I been in seclusion?" "Almost a month." The lightning ice phoenix's spirit replied. "This means that the Buzhou Palace's celebratory banquet is about to begin." Lame Yuan's face tensed up when she knew how long she had been in seclusion. She was even more worried. She said, "Qingyun went to the Buzhou Palace alone. Once the people there target him and make things difficult for him, he'll be in a very dangerous situation. I have to go to the Buzhou Palace immediately." "Girl, you've just broken through. It's best if you stabilize your cultivation before going." Seeing that Lame Yuan was about to leave, the lightning ice phoenix's spirit reminded her in a serious tone. Lame Yuan rejected the lightning ice phoenix's spirit's reminder without thinking. She said, "There's not enough time. I have to leave immediately. Senior, please let me out." Sigh. The lightning ice phoenix's spirit sighed at Lame Yuan's request and didn't continue to persuade her. It knew that with Lame Yuan's personality, no amount of persuasion would work. After opening the isolation formation, the lightning ice phoenix spirit took out a small bell and handed it to Lame Yuan. "That brat gave this to me before he left. He told me to pass it to you after you finish cultivating." Purple lightning heaven bell. Lame Yuan's face tensed up. Mountain's face tensed up the ice phoenix's spirit's eyes. From her point of view, Mo Qingyun might have given her the purple lightning heaven bell because he was prepared to die. After putting away the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell, Lame Yuan didn't say anything else and immediately rushed towards Buzhou Palace. Shanqing Buzhou Palace, at the entrance of a large hall. Chou Ziying had a faint smile on his face, as if he had a card up his sleeve. He said, "In 3 days, the banquet will begin. It won't be too late to make a move after the banquet begins. We can make an example out of him." Hearing Chou Ziying's words, Zhong Peiku and the others didn't say anything else and quietly waited for the banquet to begin. After a simple explanation, Cho Ziying wasn't willing to say anything more. He waved his hand at Zhong Pei-ku and the others and said, "The six of you, this seat still has matters to deal with and won't entertain you. Please go and rest first. Palace Master Cho, please go ahead." Zhong Pei-ku and the others respectfully replied. Following which, Zhong Pei-ku and the others left the hall and saw Gu Hengyi waiting outside. Seeing Zhong Pei-ku and the others come out, Gu Hengyi smiled faintly and said, "The six of you, please follow me. I will accompany you to the guest rooms." All right. The six nodded and followed. In the following period of time, everything was very calm. Everything was prepared in an orderly manner. 3 days passed very quickly. In these 3 days, Mo Qingyun entered the small house and didn't appear. Seeing that Mo Qingyun didn't appear, Ha was immediately curious. He looked at Mo Qingyun's small house and said, "When normal people see this seat, they all bow and scrape and flatter. This kid directly ignored me for 3 days. What a strange guy." Ha muttered to himself. He walked towards Mo Qingyun's house and prepared to call him out. Walking outside Mo Qingyun's house, Ha shouted into the house, "Kid, the banquet is about to begin. Have you finished your cultivation?" Coming right up, just as Ha finished speaking, Mo Qingyun's voice came from inside the house. Following which, Ha saw Mo Qingyun walk out of the house with a calm expression. When he saw Mo Qingyun, Ha frowned slightly. He discovered that Mo Qingyun's aura had stabilized significantly. "I was in a hurry a few days ago and didn't have time to stabilize my cultivation level. I used these few days to stabilize it." Sensing Ha surprised gaze, Mo Qingyun explained and walked out of the small courtyard. He said, "Senior, let's go, in case we're late to the banquet." Seeing Mo Qingyun walk forward, Ha-Ha's expression changed again. There was an additional look of understanding on his face. He said, "No wonder those guys from Shangqing Buzhou Palace have been looking for this kid. This kid is indeed a little unusual." Ha muttered to himself. He quickened his steps and quickly came to Mo Qingyun's side. Looking at Mo Qingyun in front of him, Ha hesitated for a moment. In the end, he still said to Mo Qingyun, "Kid, in the past few days when you were cultivating, the disciples of Shangqing Buzhou Palace have been looking for you. It seems like there's something urgent. You have to be careful. People from Shangqing Buzhou Palace are looking for me." Hearing Ha-Ha's words, Mo Qingyun's expression was one of shock. His mind spun quickly. He was very clear that when Ha said they were looking for him, he was not referring to the provocation of ordinary disciples. Mo Qingyun thought for a moment and had an answer in his heart. He muttered to himself, "It seems like Zhong Peak and the others have arrived. Furthermore, they must have spread the news of what happened in the Yin Dragon Crevice to Cho Ziying's ears." Mo Qingyun understood this point. He did not think too much about it and came up with a general plan to deal with it. Seeing Mo Qingyun's calm expression, the surprise on Ha-Ha's face immediately became even more pronounced. In his view, Mo Qingyun's expression was too calm. It was so calm that it was a little unreasonable. However, he did not ask too much. He only revealed an expectant expression. He really wanted to see how Mo Qingyun would deal with these troubles. Mo Qingyun and Ha arrived at a square not long after. They saw tens of thousands of experts gathered here. These people were the sect leaders and elders of the nearby star domains. They had come to congratulate Cho Ziying. Greetings to Quasi-Emperor Husky. Seeing Ha-Ha's arrival, the people nearby all bowed. Ha casually waved his hand in response to the crowd's actions. He sat down with Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun had just sat down when he sensed all kinds of gazes looking at him. Among them, some were envious, some were jealous, and some were gloating. Chapter 2946. The Palace Lord has arrived. Not long after Mo Qingyun sat down, a resounding voice came from outside the hall. Hearing this message, the people sitting in the hall all stood up respectfully. Even Hada stood up with a look of reverence on his face. Clearly, Cho Ziying's breakthrough to the great emperor realm had given him quite a bit of pressure. Seeing Hada stand up, Mo Qingyun did not continue sitting and stood up unhurriedly. He had only come to the high, clear Buzhou Palace this time for a banquet and did not want to cause any trouble. After all, the true Primordium Demon Hall's current strength was still unable to contend with the high, clear Buzhou Palace. Of course, if the high, clear Buzhou Palace insisted on finding trouble, he would not sit still and wait for death. Under everyone's respectful gazes, the group entered the hall. When Mo Qingyun saw this group of people, his expression changed. A look of surprise flashed across his eyes as he thought to himself, "The 6 of them are indeed with Chou Xing and the rest. Looks like his relationship with Chou Xing is not ordinary." When Mo Qingyun had entered the hall earlier, he had been searching for Zhong Peak and the others, but had not been able to find them. At that time, Mo Qingyun had been guessing whether Zhong Peak and the others would be with Chou Xing. Now, it seemed that his guess was right. Looks like Zhong Peak and the others leaked information about me and gained Chou Xing's attention. As Mo Qingyun thought to himself, he raised his guard and guarded against Chou Xing making a move on him. Judging from the current situation, it was impossible for him to keep the peace during this banquet. Just as Mo Qingyun raised his guard, Zhong Peak and the others sensed his gaze and turned to look at him. When the 6 of them saw Mo Qingyun, they all sneered coldly. However, when they saw Hada beside Mo Qingyun, they frowned slightly. Clearly, Ha had put a lot of pressure in their hearts. If Hada interfered, it would be quite difficult for them to take care of Mo Qingyun. However, when Zhong Peak and the others saw Chou Xing in front, their worries immediately disappeared. With Chou Xing here, no matter how strong Hada was, he would not be able to change the outcome. Staring coldly at Mo Qingyun, Zhong Peak and the other 5 turned their heads and followed Chou Xing to the top of the hall. Not long after, Chou Xing sat down at the top of the hall under everyone's respectful gazes. "Everyone, there's no need to be so courteous. Please take a seat." Chou Xing sat down, and a faint smile appeared on his face as he shrugged at everyone. Receiving Chou Xing's signal, everyone descended one after another, their expressions respectful as they waited for Chou Xing to speak. Chou Xing surveyed the surroundings. His gaze landed on Mo Qingyun, and he revealed a smile that was filled with deep meaning. Sensing Chou Xing's gaze, Howda's eyes darkened and his expression tensed up. "Kid, the way Chou Xing looked at you just now seems a little strange." Looking at Mo Qingyun beside him, Howda transmitted his voice in a low voice. His tone was extremely serious as he said, "Chou Xing is a very dangerous person. He will probably make things difficult for you later. You must stay calm and not fall into his trap." Mo Qingyun calmly responded to Howda's reminder. Hearing Mo Qingyun's reply, Howda sighed in his heart, knowing that his words had not been heeded. However, Howda did not try to persuade him further. He knew that it was useless to say anything more. Although he had only interacted with Mo Qingyun for a short period of time, he already knew Mo Qingyun's character very well. Mo Qingyun was very opinionated. Once he had decided on something, it was very difficult to change his mind. Chou Xing glanced at Mo Qingyun before retracting his gaze. He waved to someone beside him and said, "Since everyone is here, let the banquet begin." "Yes." Hearing Chou Xing's command, the person beside him immediately nodded and said loudly, "Let the banquet begin. Serve the wine and dishes." Under this person's command, various rare delicacies were sent into the main hall. In a short while, Mo Qingyun's table was filled with various delicacies and wine. "Palace Master, today is your birthday celebration. We have prepared some small performances." Seeing that the banquet was served, Gu Hongyi slowly stood up and waved his hand towards the outside of the hall. Under Gu Hongyi's signal, 3 disciples with Sector Lord Cultivation entered the hall respectfully. Disciple Gu Yangxiu greets the Palace Master. Disciple Gu Hai greets the Palace Master. Disciple Gu Qingwei greets the Palace Master. The 3 of us wish the Palace Master to ascend to the Emperor realm and shake the heavens with your name. We are willing to give you a sword dance. The moment the 3 youths entered the main hall, they bowed respectfully towards Chou Xing. Seeing their actions, Chou Xing chuckled and nodded in praise. "It's good that the 3 of you are so considerate. As for the sword dance, I will give it to the guests seated here. Yes. The three of them nodded and unsheathed their swords and danced, showing off their elegance. Seeing their performance, the surrounding guests nodded and their expressions were filled with praise. Little guy, the three of them will occasionally drift towards you. You have to be careful. Looking at the three swordsmen, Howda frowned as he sensed that something was amiss. Hearing Haha's reminder, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and said, "Don't worry, they can't hurt me. I hope they won't find trouble with me." Mo Qingyun's reply caused Haha's expression to change. Shock flashed across his eyes. He could tell that Mo Qingyun wasn't being arrogant when he said this. If that was the case, Mo Qingyun must have something to rely on that allowed him to not fear the three of them at the same cultivation level. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun and Haha were talking, Gu Yangxiu's sword light flashed and a sharp sword light was slashed out. The sword light was very fast. In the blink of an eye, it was in front of one of them. That person was so scared that his face turned pale. Just as that person was about to dodge, the sword light flashed and instantly dissipated in mid-air. Seeing such a scene, that person revealed an expression of lingering fear. He revealed an embarrassed smile and said, "This young master's swordsmanship is really exquisite. I admire it. I hope everyone can forgive me for losing my composure just now." After that person finished speaking, he picked up his wine cup and toasted to everyone as an apology. Some people who were familiar with this person responded to this person's actions. After some fun, Gu Yangxiu and the other two sword danced and stopped, but their swordsmanship became much sharper. Seeing this change, the surrounding people's expressions became serious, and they felt that the atmosphere became somewhat oppressive. At this moment, Gu Yangxiu and the other two's swords suddenly pierced towards Mo Qingyun's direction. In the process of the three's swords piercing, the aura of their swords immediately became several times sharper. This kind of attack was many times stronger than the one that pierced towards that person just now. Chapter 2947. Be careful. Seeing the three of them attacking Mo Qingyun, Hada was shocked and immediately sent a message to Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun did not respond to Howda's telepathic message. Instead, he smiled faintly and said, "The three of you have good sword techniques. I also know a little about sword techniques. Please enlighten me." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished his words, he took out the divine nine-bull sword and faced the three swords. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, the surrounding people were greatly shocked. Each and every one of them widened their eyes. They did not expect that Mo Qingyun would actually dare to resist the sword dance of Gu Yangxiu and the other two. One had to know that Gu Yangxiu's actions just now had already shown that their sword dance was not a real attack. This kid is too reckless. If he angers Palace Master Qiu, the consequences will be unimaginable. He's too young after all. He can't keep his cool. As a great emperor, Palace Master Qiu should not be so calculative with him. Everyone sighed and could not help but worry for Mo Qingyun. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Hada's body trembled and he was shocked. Oh no, this kid has always been calm. Why is he so impulsive now? As Hada sighed inwardly, he quickly thought about how he could help Mo Qingyun. Under everyone's gaze, Mo Qingyun leaped up and swung his sword at Gu Yangxiu and the other two. The divine nine-bull sword flashed and blasted out a sword ray that swept towards Gu Yangxiu and the other two. You overestimate yourself. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Gu Yangxiu and the other two sneered, and their eyes were filled with contempt. Although their cultivation levels were the same as Mo Qingyun's, they could easily fight someone of a higher cultivation level. Now that the three of them had joined forces, how could Mo Qingyun block them? Before Gu Yangxiu and the other two could smile, his expression froze and his eyes widened. The sword ray that Mo Qingyun blasted out actually penetrated their sword ray and blasted their bodies. Bang, bang, bang. Gu Yangxiu and the other two were all sent flying by the overbearing attack of the sword light. They fell heavily to the ground. Seeing such a scene, the surrounding people were stunned. Not only did Mo Qingyun make a move, he even sent Gu Yangxiu and the others flying. This action was too crazy. This brat really has guts. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Chou Xing's brows furrowed as a hint of surprise flashed through his eyes. Zhong Peak and the others had already told him about Mo Qingyun's strength, so he was not surprised that Gu Yangxiu and the other two were sent flying. What surprised him was that Mo Qingyun actually dared to injure Gu Yangxiu and the other two in the prime Clear's Buzhou Palace. This brat really took the bait. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Zhong Peak and the others sneered, gloating from the side. Mo Qingyun made a move to injure Gu Yangxiu and the other two, giving Chou Xing an excuse to make a move. Under everyone's gaze, Mo Qingyun revealed a disappointed expression. Looking at Gu Yangxiu and the other two on the ground, he said, "The few of you, I only used 10% of my strength to seek advice from the few of you. With the 3 of your strength, it shouldn't be that you can't block it, right? Moreover, even if you can't block it, you shouldn't be injured to this extent, right? I'm a guest of the prime Clear's Buzhou Palace at any rate. It's wrong of you to scam me like this. I can't give any compensation." With Mo Qingyun's words coming out, the surrounding people were dumbfounded, as if they were petrified. It was clearly Mo Qingyun who made a move to injure them. In the end, with a few words from him, it became Gu Yangxiu and the others' fault. This brat's mouth is really formidable. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Haha couldn't help but smile bitterly. He didn't know what to say. Haha smiled bitterly for a while. Then his expression became serious again. He thought, although Mo Qingyun's words are clever, pushing the blame to Gu Yangxiu and the others, this matter won't be resolved so easily. I wonder how he'll deal with it? Just as Haha thought, when Gu Yangxiu and the others climbed to their feet, their faces darkened. They said, "Palace Master, please uphold justice for us. Not only did this brat injure us, he's even boasting shamelessly here. If he only used 10% of his strength, how could we not have withstood it?" Hearing Gu Yangxiu's words, the nearby guests immediately began to whisper to one another. Sir Gu Yangxiu is right. That brat must have used his full strength, wanting to injure them on purpose. This kind of treacherous person must be properly punished. This brat is going to be unlucky, injuring people in the territory of the prime Clear's Buzhou Palace. He can avoid death, but he can't escape punishment. I have some impression of him. He seems to be a disciple of the true, absolute beginning Devil Hall. He can be considered to have some background. If he's a disciple of the true, absolute beginning Devil Hall, the consequences will probably be even more severe. As everyone discussed, their gazes towards Mo Qingyun were immediately filled with strong sympathy. In their opinion, if nothing unexpected happened, Mo Qingyun was probably dead for sure. While everyone was discussing, Zhong Peak stood up unhappily and roared, "Humph! The true absolute beginning Devil Hall really doesn't know what's good for them." Palace Master Chiu broke through to the great Emperor realm and invited us out of goodwill. It's fine if they only send a disciple, but they actually intentionally injured people at the banquet. We can't let this matter go so easily. In my opinion, the true absolute beginning Devil Hall is intentionally trying to stir up trouble and destroy the peace and harmony of the myriad worlds. Palace Master Chiu, I suggest you capture this brat and slowly punish him after the banquet. Hearing Zhong Peak's words, the surrounding people's gazes towards Mo Qingyun changed slightly. Evidently, Zhong Peak's words made them more or less believe him. They felt that Mo Qingyun was intentionally stirring up trouble. Oh no, the situation is getting worse and worse for this brat. Looking at the reactions of the people around him, Howda's expression became even more tense. He could no longer continue to watch from the sidelines. Howda stood up and laughed loudly at Chou Xing. Palace Master Chiu, in my opinion, this is just a small matter. It's just a small accident that happened when a few juniors were sparring. Everyone, don't think too much about it. Let's end this matter here. Hearing Howda's words, some people nodded, thinking that they were thinking too much. Husky quasi-emperor, I only have a conclusion in my heart. You could just watch from the sidelines. Cho Xing's expression was cold in the face of Haoda's persuasion. He didn't listen at all. Hearing Cho Xing's words, Haoda laughed awkwardly and sat back down with a heavy expression. He knew very well that if he continued to persuade Cho Xing, he would anger Cho Xing and turn him into Mo Qingyun's accomplice. After stopping Haoda's persuasion, Cho Xing looked at Mo Qingyun and exuded the aura of a great emperor. Don't say that I didn't give you a chance. If you can give me a reasonable explanation, I can forgive your offense. Otherwise... Chapter 2948. You want a reasonable explanation? That's too easy. Under Cho Xing's aura, Mo Qingyun had an indifferent expression as he gave a simple answer. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he turned to look at Gu Yangxiu and the others and said, "Earlier, the three of you said that I intentionally injured you. If I really wanted to injure you, shouldn't I have used my full strength?" That's right. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Gu Yangxiu and the other two felt guilty and stammered. They were suddenly a little unsure if Mo Qingyun really used his full strength when he attacked just now. After all, they came to provoke Mo Qingyun only because they listened to Gu Hengyi's arrangement. As for Mo Qingyun's true strength, they had no idea at all. Getting the answer he wanted from Gu Yangxiu and the other two, Mo Qingyun's smile became wider. Seeing the smile on Mo Qingyun's face, Cho Xing's heart thumped and immediately felt that something was wrong. Without waiting for Cho Xing to stop him, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold. He looked coldly at Gu Yangxiu and the other two and shouted, "Since that's the case, the three of you should properly feel how my full strength is." As Mo Qingyun's words fell, he slashed out with his sword, erupting with a terrifying aura. Immediately, a sword ray with monstrous aura blasted out from the nine-bull divine sword. So strong. Sensing the sword ray's aura, Gu Yangxiu and the other two turned pale and trembled in fear. Under the intense fear, they even forgot to resist. "Stop!" Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Gu Hengyi's face darkened and immediately shouted at Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun ignored Gu Hengyi's reprimand, and his attack did not decrease in the slightest. Bang, bang, bang. The sword ray was extremely fast and hit Gu Yangxiu and the other two in the blink of an eye, sending them flying with the force of a whirlwind. Seeing Gu Yangxiu and the other two being sent flying, Gu Hengyi did not sit idly by and immediately reached out to catch them. By the time Gu Yangxiu and the other two were caught, they had already fainted. Their bodies were covered with hideous wounds. Looking at the appearance of Gu Yangxiu and the other two, the surrounding people gasped and couldn't help but swallow their saliva. Mo Qingyun's actions were too crazy. This was directly provoking the high, clear Buzhou Palace. Is this kid crazy? The rapid change in the situation left Hahad in a daze. He felt that his brain wasn't enough to process it. He would never have thought that Mo Qingyun would actually fight back against prime, clear Buzhou Palace's deliberate difficulties. After stabilizing the injuries of Gu Yangxiu and the other two, Gu Hengyi was so angry that his face turned ashen. He pointed at Mo Qingyun and shouted, "Brat, you! How dare you? Do you know the consequences of doing this?" Gu Hengyi's angry questioning was once again ignored by Mo Qingyun. He faced Cho Xing, who was at the top of the hall, and said, "Palace Lord Cho, you should have seen it now. When I attacked just now, I did not use my full strength. How did I deliberately provoke them?" Mo Qingyun's direct questioning was out of Cho Xing's expectations. He couldn't help but be speechless. Seeing that Cho Xing was speechless, Zhong Peak snorted coldly and said, "Humph. Even if what you said is reasonable, and you did not intentionally cause trouble by injuring Gu Yangxiu and the other two, but now that you have heavily injured them, how are you going to explain it? Is there still a need to explain?" Facing Zhong Peak's questioning, Mo Qingyun's face was cold as he asked him in a domineering manner. He then said, "The absolute beginning Devil Hall has always adhered to the principle of being friendly with the high clear Buzhou Palace. But the three of them had bad intentions and deliberately provoked the conflict between the two sections. Shouldn't I teach them a lesson? Sharp-tongued and sophistry. Mo Qingyun's reply immediately incurred Zhong Peik's displeasure. He said coldly, "Even if Gu Yangxiu and the other two are in the wrong, it's not your turn to teach them a lesson in the high clear Buzhou Palace." What a joke. Mo Qingyun sneered and glanced at Gu Yangxiu and the other two. He said, "If not for the fact that this is the high clear Buzhou Palace, and I'm giving Palace Lord Cho Xing some face, do you think the three of them would still be alive?" After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he placed his hands behind his back with an arrogant posture. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, everyone was stunned and felt that their brains were not enough to process it. This kid is too arrogant. Just what is he relying on? I'm not sure. If he's not crazy, then he must have something to rely on. Maybe he's bluffing and using a reverse method to make the high, clear Buzhou Palace hesitate. That must be it. Otherwise, he wouldn't be the only one from the true Primordium Demon Hall. This is too risky. If it's lost, it'll be beyond redemption. Seeing Mo Qingyun's abnormal behavior, the people around him began to speculate. Not only were they confused, even Hada was confused. He said, "Just what is this kid relying on to dare speak to Cho Xing like that? It's getting harder and harder to see through him." Seeing Mo Qingyun's arrogant behavior, Zhong Peik was indignant. He said, "Palace Lord Cho, this kid is arrogant and conceited. He can't be forgiven easily." Before Cho Xing could reply, Mo Qingyun beat him to it. He said, "Zhong Peik, if you continue to sow discord between the high, clear Buzhou Palace and the true Primordium Demon Hall, don't blame me for being impolite. I'll remove your Qinghai 4 dragon palaces. Let me remind you clearly. Since I can kill Zhong Hankai in Zhongmingqi, I can also kill you in Zhongwu Planet." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhong Peik's face twitched and turned red. Seeing Zhong Peik's actions, everyone's eyes widened. They were quite frightened by Mo Qingyun's words. They knew very well that Zhong Peik's actions proved that Mo Qingyun's words weren't false. Did I hear wrongly? That kid killed Zhong Hankai in Zhongmingqi? Zhong Hankai and Zhongmingqi were both half-step emperors. How could this kid do it with his strength? That kid's strength is very close to the half-step emperor realm. I'm afraid this isn't false. Killing half-step emperors as an initial sector lord. This kid is a terrifying figure. When everyone looked at Mo Qingyun, their gazes were filled with awe and veneration. Not only others, even Hada was the same. No wonder this kid wasn't afraid when he saw me. He hid his strength so well. Hada sighed in his heart. He finally got an answer to the doubts in his heart. However, after his previous doubts were resolved, Hada had new doubts. Even if this kid has the strength of a half-step great emperor, it's still far from enough to contend against Cho Xing. What exactly did I miss? Hada was puzzled when he thought of this. He stared at Mo Qingyun. Chapter 2949. Brat, it's not your turn to behave atrociously in front of this seat. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Cho Xing's face was as black as ink as he warned coldly. As Cho Xing spoke, he also released an aura that crushed down on Mo Qingyun. Thump, thump, thump. Under the impact of Cho Xing's aura, Mo Qingyun's body swayed, and he unconsciously retreated a few steps. Mo Qingyun stabilized his body and revealed an unyielding expression as he confronted Cho Xing. He said, "Cho Xing, as the Palace Lord of Shangqing Buzhou Palace, could it be that you want to bully the weak? Or is it that all the disciples of Shangqing Buzhou Palace like to do this kind of shameless things?" Seeing that both sides had already shed all pretenses of cordiality, Mo Qingyun no longer held back and directly scolded Cho Xing. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, the expressions of the surrounding people all twitched, and they could not help sucking in a breath of cold air. Among so many people present, probably only Mo Qingyun alone dared to speak to Cho Xing like this. Mo Qingyun's actions were really too crazy. It was simply no different from courting death. Looks like this brat has steeled his heart and wants to fight with Cho Xing. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Hahada, who was at the side, secretly sighed and felt a sense of powerlessness. He said, "The situation has become like this. Even if I want to intervene, I'm afraid it's also impossible." Hahada was very clear that Chozing was already truly enraged. He would not listen to anyone anymore. Hearing Mo Qingyun's mocking words, Chozing revealed a cold smile. He said, "Brat, you want to fight with this old man? You're still a little too inexperienced. This old man won't fall for this kind of low-end goading method." When Chozing finished speaking, he grabbed at Mo Qingyun with a palm, erupting with a monstrous aura. Very soon, the power of laws in the entire Great Hall underwent a huge change. Sensing the change in the power of laws, everyone in the Great Hall was shocked until their faces changed drastically. The terror of great emperors was that they could change the power of laws and create an absolute suppression on their enemies. Eternity. Facing Cho Ziying's attack, Mo Qingyun did not dare to be the slightest bit careless and immediately brandished his sword to block. Very quickly, a sword ray with a sharp aura blasted out from the Nine-Bull Divine Sword. Boom! The sword light flashed and blocked the palm shadow with a loud bang. Everyone's eyes widened when they saw the palm shadow being blocked. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. How is this possible? He actually blocked Palace Lord Qiu's palm strike. Even if Palace Lord Qiu didn't use his full strength, his palm isn't something a sector lord can block. This kid is really a freak. He can't be judged by common sense at all. A series of exclamations could be heard. Clearly, Mo Qingyun's performance had exceeded the scope of their understanding. Looking at the unbelievable scene in front of him, Howda froze on the spot as if he had been petrified. He said, "He can even withstand the power of an Emperor Realm expert. How'd he do it?" At this moment, Howda's heart was filled with an intense curiosity. He wanted to know the reason behind this. If he could do this, he would no longer need to fear Cho Ziying. After blocking Cho Ziying's palm strike, Mo Qingyun was not the least bit careless. He immediately activated the saint power in his body and condensed it into a Pegasus. Mo Qingyun leaped onto the Pegasus. His figure flashed and disappeared from the hall. "Palace Lord Qiu, that kid wants to escape. Quickly chase him." Seeing Mo Qingyun disappear, Zong Peak's expression trembled and immediately reminded Cho Ziying. Hearing Zong Peak's reminder, Cho Ziying's face darkened. He said coldly, "Humph. He wants to escape from my hands? He doesn't have the ability to do so." As Cho Ziying's words fell, he blasted a palm towards Zong Peak, blasting out an imposing palm shadow that shook the heavens. Seeing Cho Ziying's action, Zong Peak was so scared that his face turned pale and his eyes widened. He did not understand why Cho Ziying did not go after Mo Qingyun. Why did he turn around and attack him? Just as Zong Peak was panicking, a light flashed in front of him. It was Mo Qingyun who had just disappeared. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed again and disappeared from everyone's perception. Bam! Mo Qingyun dodged, but Zong Peak was not spared. He was directly hit by the palm shadow. Although Zong Peak's strength was very strong, he was still beaten half to death by Cho Ziying's palm. Mo Qingyun revealed himself. Looking at the half-dead Zong Peak, a faint smile appeared on his lips. "You talk too much nonsense. You deserve to be beaten. Do you want to continue talking?" PFFF. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zong Peak was so angry that he spat out another mouthful of blood. Zong Peak spat out another mouthful of blood and fainted. He lay on the ground like a dead dog. Seeing that Zong Peak had fainted, Mo Qingyun looked at Gu Hongyi and the others with a meaningful smile. Feeling Mo Qingyun's gaze, Gu Hongyi and the others trembled. Their eyes flashed with intense panic. They were very afraid that Mo Qingyun would use the same trick to deal with them as he dealt with Zong Peak. "You were barking just now. Why are you all so quiet now?" Looking at the silent planet Zong Wu and the others, Mo Qingyun showed a disdainful smile and mocked them. Hearing Mo Qingyun's mocking words, although Zong Wu planet and the others were very angry, they did not dare to utter a single word. "Boy, if I don't show you who's boss, you really think I can't do anything to you?" seeing Mo Qingyun's arrogant attitude and completely ignoring his existence. Chou Ziying was completely enraged. As soon as Chou Ziying finished speaking, he moved and chased after Mo Qingyun. Seeing that Chou Ziying was chasing after him, Mo Qingyun's lips curled up slightly. His figure disappeared on the spot. Chou Ziying, if you want to teach me a lesson, you have to catch up to me first. Not long after Mo Qingyun's voice was heard, he had already arrived outside the main hall and was out of the area covered by Chou Ziying's nomological laws. Seeing this scene, everyone in the main hall was stunned. Chou Ziying's nomological powers were actually ineffective against Mo Qingyun. This was a little unbelievable. After being played by Mo Qingyun again, Chou Ziying was completely enraged. He could not even speak. Chou Ziying's figure flashed and turned into a stream of light, chasing after Mo Qingyun. Chou Ziying, you're too slow. Are you a snail? Seeing that Chou Ziying was attacking, Mo Qingyun was not afraid at all. Instead, he mocked him again. When Mo Qingyun mocked him, his body flashed again, and he disappeared on the spot. When Mo Qingyun reappeared, he had already pulled away from Chou Ziying and escaped from his capture. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, everyone was dumbfounded and felt that their brains were not enough. Facing Chou Ziying's capture, Mo Qingyun was actually able to handle it with ease. This ability was too terrifying. Chapter 2950. So that's what he's relying on. Seeing Mo Qingyun's figure constantly flashing, even Chou Ziying could not catch up with him. Haha's doubts were resolved. Since he had the power to protect himself, why would Mo Qingyun fear Chou Ziying? Thinking of this, Haha could not help but sigh. Saint Power transforming into a horse is so terrifying. Hearing Haha's words, the others sitting beside him all nodded in agreement. Even a great emperor could not do anything to him. He could be said to be exceedingly powerful. Under everyone's gaze, Chou Ziying's face turned even uglier after failing several times in a row. Today, if he did not kill Mo Qingyun, he would lose all his face. Boy, don't be complacent. I'll definitely kill you today. Seeing Mo Qingyun dodge again, Chou Ziying was so angry that his veins popped out. He gnashed his teeth and shouted angrily. Chou Ziying's angry roar made Mo Qingyun curl his lips in disdain. He swept his gaze across the entire Buzhou Palace and said, Chou Ziying, I think you shouldn't push your luck. You've attacked me again and again. Do you really think I won't retaliate? Boy, how dare you? Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Chou Ziying shouted angrily. His tone was full of warning. Mo Qingyun did not care about Chou Ziying's warning at all. He immediately swung his sword at a palace and said, Do you think I dare or not? With a wave of the nine-bull divine sword, a sword light blasted out and slashed at a palace domineeringly. Boom! The sword light blasted the palace and immediately exploded with a loud bang, causing the earth to shake. After being hit by the sword light, the boundary outside the palace was immediately activated. But what shocked everyone was that the sword light was blocked by the boundary and did not show any signs of weakening. On the contrary, the boundary outside the palace began to dim under the constant attack of the sword light. Crack, crack, crack. After a short while, the boundary outside the palace began to shatter bit by bit. Then, the barrier completely collapsed, and the sword light fell on the palace. Boom! The palace was bombarded by the sword light and immediately collapsed, turning into a pile of ruins. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people were all stunned. They couldn't believe that this was real. This brat is too crazy. He actually dared to destroy the main hall of the prime, clear Buzhou Palace. By doing this, isn't he afraid that Chou Ziying will kill his way into the true absolute beginning Devil Hall? As a disciple of the true absolute beginning Devil Palace, he can run away, but the temple can't. Why does he dare to do this? While everyone was shocked, they also felt puzzled. Chou Ziying was thoroughly enraged as he watched the palace crumble under Mo Qingyun's tyrannical might. Brat, you forced me to do this. Chou Ziying shouted coldly. He began to form hand seals, activating the sect protecting formation of Buzhou Palace. Very quickly, a seven-colored screen of light appeared in the sky above Buzhou Palace. Looking at the seven-colored light screen of Buzhou Palace, the people below were stunned. Their faces paled. They were very clear that Chou Ziying was completely enraged. He was about to lose his mind. Otherwise, why would he use the sect protecting formation to deal with a sector lord brat? This brat is in trouble. Unless a great emperor comes to help, he will definitely die today. Looking at the sect protecting formation of Buzhou Palace, Hada's expression tightened. He felt a strong sense of worry. Compared to the others' worry, Mo Qingyun was indifferent. He smiled without a care. Chou Ziying, do you think a lousy formation can trap me? As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, his figure flashed and disappeared from where he stood. When Mo Qingyun appeared again, he was already out of the sect protecting formation of Buzhou Palace. Seeing this, everyone was dumbfounded. They didn't know what to say. They didn't expect that even the sect protecting formation of Buzhou Palace couldn't do anything to Mo Qingyun. In this way, no one in the entire Buzhou Palace could do anything to Mo Qingyun. Chou Ziying is going to have a headache facing such an enemy. It's not just a headache. He won't be able to eat or sleep well. A mere initial stage sector lord already has such ability. If he breaks through to the great emperor realm, it'll be amazing. With this brat's talent, there's a high chance of him breaking through to the great emperor realm. Buzhou Palace is in big trouble. After witnessing Mo Qingyun's methods, everyone couldn't help but feel some sympathy for Chou Ziying. Meeting an enemy like Mo Qingyun was undoubtedly the most troublesome thing. Seeing that even the sect protecting formation couldn't trap Mo Qingyun, Chou Ziying gritted his teeth in anger. While Chou Ziying was furious, he also felt some fear in his heart. He was very clear that at this point, it wasn't a matter of face anymore. If they didn't get rid of Mo Qingyun, the Buzhou Palace would forever be in a nightmare from now on. Palace Lord Chou, it seems like you're in trouble. Do you need my help? While Chou Ziying was at a loss, a cold voice sounded from the back mountain of Buzhou Palace. Chou Ziying was delighted when he heard the voice. He hurriedly bowed in the direction of the back mountain. Emperor Lord, please help. If you can kill this brat, this junior will be eternally grateful. I'll be willing to go through water and tread on fire for Emperor Lord. When Chou Ziying bowed, an old figure flew out from the back mountain of Buzhou Palace. This aura, sensing that person's aura, Hahada was so frightened that his body trembled. His eyes widened as he exclaimed, "This is the aura of a half-step great saint expert. I didn't expect such an expert to be hidden in the prime, clear Buzhou Palace. Half-step great saint." It seems like Chou Ziying's breakthrough to the great emperor realm is related to this person. Two great emperors, and one is a half-step great saint. The prime clear Buzhou Palace is so strong. Everyone was terrified when they saw the old figure in the sky. While everyone revealed expressions of fear, Mo Qingyun also noticed the old man. A wisp of shock flashed through his eyes as he said, "The situation isn't good. One Chou Ziying is still easy to deal with. But if this person is included, the situation isn't optimistic." Mo Qingyun wasn't worried that he wouldn't be able to escape, but that Chou Ziying would team up with this person to take revenge on Taichu Demon Hall. With the strength of Lei Muin and the others, it was impossible for them to resist the joint attack of these two people. Just as Mo Qingyun was worrying, the old man's figure flashed and appeared not far away from him. So fast, Mo Qingyun was shocked when he saw the old man's attack. He immediately dodged. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and pulled away from the old man, avoiding the old man's powerful attack. He dodged it. Chou Ziying was shocked when he saw Mo Qingyun's performance. He was surprised by the situation. Chapter 2951. Even the attack of a half-step great saint was dodged by him. What kind of superpower is this? How could it be so terrifying? Saint power transforming into a horse. How terrifying, how terrifying. It seems that as long as the great emperors don't appear, he can look down on everyone. Looking at Mo Qingyun's performance, everyone was shocked and in awe. Hearing the words of the people next to him, Hao sighed and said, "Compared to this kid, I've lived for tens of millions of years in vain. He must be lucky." Calming himself down, Chou Ziying's eyes flashed fiercely as he rushed towards Mo Qingyun and shouted, "Kid, let's see how many times you can dodge. Die." As soon as Chou Ziying finished speaking, he grabbed at Mo Qingyun and joined forces with the old man to attack. Seeing this, everyone's expression tensed up. They couldn't help but break out in cold sweat for Mo Qingyun. Two great emperors joining forces, and one of them was even a half-step great saint. This lineup was too terrifying. Could Mo Qingyun handle it? Chou Ziying's participation in the battle made Mo Qingyun's situation much more serious. There were a few times when Mo Qingyun was almost caught by them and was injured by their attacks. That was close. Once again, the crisis was averted. Mo Qingyun's face showed lingering fear. He took a deep breath and said to himself, "This can't go on. Once my saint power is exhausted, I will definitely be captured by them. I have to think of a way." In the process of constantly dodging, his saint power was greatly consumed. Mo Qingyun frowned. The thing that gave him the greatest headache was that with this half-step great sage expert by his side, even fleeing had become extremely difficult. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was firmly suppressed, Chou Ziying's face revealed a cold smile. With a complacent expression, he said, "Brat, you have nowhere to run. Obediently surrender." Not necessarily. Hearing Chou Ziying's words, Mo Qingyun's face turned serious and a ruthless look appeared on his face. If it really did not work out, he could only use the concept of grand beginning to raise his combat strength. It was just that the consequences of releasing the concept of grand beginning were not something he could predict. He didn't want to do that unless it was absolutely necessary. Space door, gate of time, gate of providence, door of calamity. Although he couldn't use the realm of absolute beginning, Mo Qingyun didn't hold back anymore. He immediately activated the gate of destinies. Soon, 4 doors of light with completely different auras appeared beside Mo Qingyun. The 4 gates of light were formed. The gate of space, the gate of time, and the gate of destiny entered Mo Qingyun's body. As for the gate of bloody calamity, Mo Qingyun waved his hand and sent it flying towards Chou Ziying. "Since you're so proud, I'll show you the gate of bloody calamity. I hope you like it." Whoosh! The bloody door turned into a bloody light and disappeared in a flash. In the blink of an eye, it blasted into Chou Ziying's body. As soon as the bloody door entered his body, Chou Ziying's blood surged and a trace of blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth. Chou Ziying's face immediately turned gloomy when he noticed his situation. He was injured. Although his injuries weren't serious, it was a great humiliation that he was injured by Mo Qingyun. A kid at the initial stage of the World Lord realm had actually injured him. Was there anything more embarrassing than this? Haha and the others were shocked when they saw Chou Ziying's injury. They were all stunned on the spot. Palace Lord Chou is injured. He was injured by Mo Qingyun. It's already unbelievable that he was able to dodge Palace Lord Chou's attack with ease. I didn't expect him to be able to injure Palace Lord Chou. It's too terrifying. Although Palace Lord Chou's injuries aren't serious, Mo Qingyun's ability to do this is enough to shock the world. Everyone exclaimed in surprise. At this moment, Mo Qingyun's impression in their hearts underwent a complete change. "Old man, how do you feel?" After Mo Qingyun used the bloody door and caused Chou Ziyi to suffer, Chou Ziyi asked with a faint smile. When Mo Qingyun asked, he also felt some anticipation. "I wonder what kind of good luck the door of fortune will bring me. Kid, I'm going to tear you into pieces and make you unable to reincarnate." Chou Ziyi completely lost his mind when he heard Mo Qingyun's mocking words. He pounced towards Mo Qingyun in a frenzy. At this moment, a beautiful figure flew over with extreme speed and shouted angrily with a cold expression. "Oof, I like to see how you're going to injure my husband." After a shout, a beautiful figure appeared in front of Mo Qingyun. She arrived in front of Mo Qingyun and raised her right palm to meet Chou Ziyi's attack. Chi chi chi. When the beautiful figure raised her right palm, a terrifying power of lightning mixed with a frosty aura blasted out from her palm. When this power erupted, it turned into a green palm shadow and changed the power of laws in the surroundings. It could be seen that this beautiful figure was also a great emperor powerhouse. Muin, seeing the beautiful figure in front of him, Mo Qingyun's expression changed. His face was full of shock. He did not expect Lei Muin to come at this time. What he did not expect, even more, was that Lei Muin had broken through to the great emperor realm. In this way, his crisis was resolved. While Mo Qingyun was still in shock, Lei Muin's palm shadow blasted out to meet Cho Zi's palm shadow. Boom! The two palm shadows that contained the power of a great emperor collided and immediately exploded with a terrifying sound. Then, a destructive power erupted from the two palm shadows. Seeing the energy storm, Mo Qingyun was shocked and immediately pulled Lei Muin back. Mo Qingyun and Cho Zi's figures flashed and left the area of the energy storm. When Mo Qingyun retreated, Cho Ziying and Cho Zi did not dare to be careless and retreated as well. Just as the four of them retreated, the place where the two palm shadows collided turned into a black hole area. A violent, devouring power surged out from the black hole area like a demon that wanted to destroy the world. Seeing such a scene, the surrounding people were scared out of their wits. Their faces all turned pale. They were sure that even a half-step great emperor powerhouse would be in a perilous situation if they were affected. At this moment, time seemed to have stopped. Everyone held their breaths and looked at the black hole area in the air. After an unknown period of time, the storm finally dissipated and the black hole area also healed, returning to its original state. Seeing that everything had returned to normal, everyone took a deep breath. Cho Ziying, I didn't have enough fun fighting 1 against 2. Now that it's 2 against 2, we can fight to our heart's content. Just as everyone calmed down, Mo Qingyun's voice came from the air and shocked them again. They did not expect that Mo Qingyun had not left and still wanted to continue the battle. His actions were simply too crazy. Chapter 2952. Hearing Mo Qingyun's voice, everyone looked up at the sky. When they saw Lei Muin's appearance, those who knew Lei Muin were all stunned. That's the number 1 beauty of the Absolute Beginning Star Zone, the young lord of the Absolute Beginning Demon Palace. Her cultivation has broken through to the Emperor realm. No wonder Mo Qingyun isn't afraid of Cho Ziying. I didn't expect the Absolute Beginning Demon Palace to have an Emperor realm expert. I seem to have heard her say that Mo Qingyun is her husband. After knowing the relationship between Mo Qingyun and Lei Muin, the way everyone looked at him changed greatly. Some of the younger people looked at Mo Qingyun with eyes full of adoration. With his initial sector lord cultivation, he had managed to seduce an Emperor realm wife. This was too outstanding. He even managed to get Lei Muin. Is there anything this kid can't do? Looking at Lei Muin in mid-air, Hahada had a complicated expression. He also felt admiration for Mo Qingyun. He believed that even with his boundary Emperor realm cultivation, he wouldn't dare to have any ideas about an Emperor realm expert. I didn't expect this girl to have broken through to the Emperor realm. This is going to be troublesome. After knowing Lei Muin's situation, Cho Ziying's expression turned serious. He felt a strong sense of worry. He knew very well how big of an impact an Emperor realm expert could have on the situation. Because of Lei Muin's participation, their advantage had been greatly reduced. Seeing Cho Ziying's reaction, the half-step great saint elder beside him revealed a disdainful smile. Palace Lord Cho, there's no need to panic. Although she has broken through to the Emperor realm, she hasn't even stabilized her cultivation. She won't be a threat to us. Hearing the elder's words, Cho Ziying's expression relaxed. He nodded with a serious expression. Do it. After comforting Cho Ziying, the old man with half-step great saint cultivation rushed towards Lei Muin and said, that brat's movement divine ability is too mysterious. It won't be easy to kill him, But this girl doesn't know that kind of divine ability. Let's take care of her first. Lord Zishao is wise. With that kid's cultivation, even if he interferes from the side, it would be useless. When he heard the elder's suggestion, Cho Ziying's eyes immediately lit up. A look of pleasant surprise appeared on his face as he said, "If this girl is in danger, that kid will definitely not sit idly by. At that time, he will take the initiative to come forward. It will be easy for us to deal with him." Then, he followed Zi Shao and attacked Lame Yuan. Mo Qingyan frowned when he saw Cho Ziying's actions. He couldn't help but worry a little. Although Lame Yuan had broken through to the Great Emperor realm, she hadn't even stabilized her realm. She was definitely no match for Zi Shao and Zi Shao. Mo Qingyun's eyes suddenly lit up. A playful smile appeared on his lips as he said, "Muin, activate the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell to trap that old man. Let's take care of Cho Ziying first, then slowly deal with him." When she heard Mo Qingyun's reminder, Lame Yuan immediately understood and summoned the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. Under Lame Yuan's control, the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell immediately grew in size and enveloped Zishao. Rumble! A deafening sound was heard. Zishao, who was charging towards Lame Yuan, was directly enveloped by the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell and was trapped inside. Seeing Zishao situation, Cho Ziying immediately panicked. He was so frightened that his face kept twitching. He knew very well that without Zishao help, he was definitely no match for Mo Qingyun and Zishao. When Cho Ziying thought of this, he immediately stopped moving forward and retreated with a look of fear. "Let's see where you're going to run to." Seeing that Zishao was trapped, Mo Qingyun didn't waste any time and immediately launched a counterattack against Cho Ziying. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed. He appeared behind Cho Ziying and slashed at him with his sword. The divine sword of 9 bulls flashed brilliantly and blasted out a sword radiance that swept towards Cho Ziying domineeringly. Facing the powerful attack of the sword radiance, Cho Ziying was so frightened that his body trembled. His escape route was instantly cut off. Tai Ching Chi Si Palm. Seeing the sword radiance rapidly approaching, Cho Ziying didn't dare to be careless and immediately blasted out with his palm. As Cho Ziying waved his palm, a terrifying saint energy blasted out from his palm. Immediately, the terrifying saint power turned into a giant palm made of mist. Chi Chi Chi. The sword radiance blasted onto the misty palm and immediately emitted a sharp sound as it pierced deeply into the misty palm. Following this, the aura of the misty palm immediately weakened a little. Seeing this, Cho Ziying's expression trembled and a look of shock flashed across his eyes. His full-strength palm actually didn't disperse Mo Qingyun's sword radiance. This was a little frightening. Before Cho Ziying could recover from his shock, he felt a bone-piercing chill coming from behind him. Oh no! Cho Ziying's face twitched, and he broke out in a cold sweat from fright. He knew that this was Lame Yuan's attack on him. She had launched a sure-kill attack on him. Cho Ziying understood this and didn't dare to hesitate at all. He immediately prepared to dodge. However, before Cho Ziying could turn around, he saw a giant thunderous palm approaching his head. "I can't dodge it." Seeing the giant thunderous palm so close to him, Cho Ziying's face paled and a look of panic flashed across his eyes. However, Cho Ziying was after all a great emperor, and he quickly suppressed the panic in his heart. Spiritual shield of mystical purity. Cho Ziying's hands moved quickly and condensed a strong saint energy, turning it into a giant air shield. This air shield was formed and it enveloped Cho Ziying, blocking the giant thunderous palm that was attacking him. Bam! The palm shadow blasted onto the air shield and exploded with a loud bang, creating a terrifying energy storm. However, Cho Ziying, who was inside the air shield, was like the immovable wisdom king and wasn't hurt at all. After blocking Lame Yuan's palm shadow, Cho Ziying's lips curled into a smug smile. "Humph! Although I can't hurt you, you can't do anything to me either." When Lord Zixiao breaks out of this prison, it will be time to deal with you. Humph. You can block Muwan's palm shadow, but you can't block my sword radiance. Seeing Cho Ziying's performance, Mo Qingyun's lips curled up slightly, and he immediately stabbed toward him. Mo Qingyun's right hand stabbed out, an array of sword radiance appeared in front of Cho Ziying in an instant. Cho Ziying curled his lips in disdain when he saw Mo Qingyun's attack. He said, "Kid, even an emperor can't break through this divine ability of mine. How is it possible for someone like you?" Before Cho Ziying could finish speaking, he saw Mo Qingyun's sword radiance pierce through his air shield. Then, the sword radiance blasted onto his body and directly pierced through his chest. Chapter 29:53. This can't be true. He can't possibly break through my shield. Cho Ziying looked at his bloody chest with a crazed expression, unwilling to accept this reality. Mo Qingyun smirked at Cho Ziying's crazed words and said coldly, "Since you don't believe me, then take another blow from me." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he brandished the 9-oxen divine sword and slashed down at Cho Ziying. Eternity ignores defense. Soon, an even more terrifying sword radiance blasted in front of Cho Ziying. Cho Ziying panicked at the sight of the rapidly approaching sword radiance, not daring to take it head-on. But what made him helpless was that although he wanted to dodge, he couldn't, because if he dodged, he would have to remove his shield. In this way, Lame Yuan's palm shadow would swallow him whole. In the instant that Cho Ziying hesitated, the sword radiance hit him again, leaving behind a hideous wound. After being hit by the sword radiance again, Cho Ziying's aura was clearly weakened. Not only that, but it became more difficult for him to resist Lame Yuan's palm shadow. "I can't go on like this, or I'll be exhausted to death by this kid." Sensing his situation, Cho Ziying immediately came to a realization, and a resolute expression appeared on his face. Then, Cho Ziying removed his shield and took Lame Yuan's palm head-on. Bam! Under Lame Yuan's palm, Cho Ziying was immediately sent flying and swallowed up by the lightning palm shadow. Borrowing the power of the lightning palm shadow, Cho Ziying's figure paused and returned to the Buzhou Palace. However, at this moment, Cho Ziying was no longer as high-spirited as before, only a wretched and miserable state. Seeing Cho Ziying's appearance, the surrounding people were all stunned, unable to accept this reality for a long time. Someone as strong as Cho Ziying had actually been seriously injured by Mo Qingyun and his companion. The two of them are so strong that they can actually crush a great emperor. It's understandable that Lame Yuan is so strong, but Mo Qingyun is ridiculously strong. Even great emperors can't block his sword light. His sword technique is too strange. It's not just the sword technique that's strange. His entire body is very strange. Better offend the great emperor than offend Mo Qingyun. At this moment, everyone had such childish thoughts in their hearts. Soon after, they looked at Mo Qingyun not only with respect, but also with fear. Seeing Cho Ziying flee back to Buzhou Palace, Missouri Qingyun frowned, and a troubled expression appeared on his face. Although he could borrow the holy power Pegasus and bring Lame Yuan into the Buzhou Palace, but the sect-protecting formation of Shanqing Buzhou Palace was a huge problem. If they were unable to destroy this grand formation, it would be impossible for them to kill Cho Ziying within the Buzhou Palace. Moreover, Lame Yuan still needed to stabilize her cultivation, and his holy power was a bit too much. At that time, even if he risked his life to kill Cho Ziying, the remaining Zixiao wouldn't be able to fight back. This way, the gains wouldn't make up for the losses. Understanding this, Mo Qingyun didn't plan to continue attacking. "Cho Ziying, I hope you can keep your head and wait for me to take it the next time." Looking at Cho Ziying, who had fled back to Buzhou Palace, a cold smile appeared on Mo Qingyun's lips as he said some harsh words. Hearing Mo Qingyun's ruthless words, Cho Ziying's expression immediately darkened. He said coldly, "Kid, don't be so smug. This time, I was careless and accidentally fell into your trap. Once I recover from my injuries, I'll definitely slaughter your grand primordium demon palace. Don't talk big. If you have the ability, come out and fight me. Coward. Hearing Cho Ziying's angry words, Mo Qingyun curled his lips in disdain and directly provoked him. Hearing Mo Qingyun's provocation, Cho Ziying immediately cowered. His face turned red, and he didn't know how to refute. Seeing Cho Ziying speechless, Mo Qingyun's smile deepened. He said, Cho Ziying, don't think I don't know how you broke through to the great Emperor realm. The old man in the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell should be a remnant of the dark demon race, right? When Mo Qingyun said this, not only did Cho Ziying's expression change, but Hahad and the others' expressions also changed. If this was true, the Buzhou Palace would definitely be enraged and be annihilated by the myriad worlds. You're lying. Seeing the change in everyone's gaze, Cho Ziying felt guilty and quickly explained. Seeing Cho Ziying's expression, Mo Qingyun didn't argue. He nodded to Lame Yuan and said, Lame Yuan, put away the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. We're getting ready to leave. Okay. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Lame Yuan nodded and put away the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. Following that, Zishao broke free from the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. He charged at Mo Qingyun and Mu Wan with a gloomy expression. Dodge! Facing Zishao's attack, Mo Qingyun didn't panic at all. He easily dodged with Lame Yuan. As Mo Qingyun dodged, he smiled meaningfully and said, Old man, Palace Lord Cho has already revealed your true identity. As the Emperor Lord of the Dark Demon race, aren't you afraid of being hunted down by the great sages and saint emperors by appearing so openly? Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zizhao's expression clearly twitched. A trace of panic flashed across his eyes. Mo Qingyun's words were true. If his identity was exposed, he would definitely be hunted down by the myriad worlds. At least for now, he would be in such a situation. Lord Zishao, don't listen to his nonsense. I didn't say anything. Sensing Zizhao's angry gaze, Cho Ziying immediately felt guilty and hurriedly assured Zishao. It would have been fine if Cho Ziying didn't say anything. Now that he said this, he was confessing without being pressed. What? Cho Ziying is working with the Dark Demon race. No wonder Cho Ziying's cultivation broke through to the great Emperor realm so quickly. In this case, wouldn't Shangqing Buzhou Palace become the Dark Demon race's vassal? When everyone thought of this, he distanced himself from Cho Ziying. As everyone retreated, they were also thinking of a way to leave Shangqing Buzhou Palace. Sensing the gazes of the people around him, Cho Ziying frowned, and his expression became even more panicked. If this matter was leaked, Shangqing Buzhou Palace would be doomed eternally. Just as Cho Ziying was panicking, Zizhao's expression turned cold. He said, Palace Lord Cho, if you want to hide the truth now, you have to make the person who knows the truth disappear from the world forever. I think you know what to do. After hearing Zizhao's reminder, Cho Ziying's expression immediately darkened. A ferocious look appeared in his eyes. Sensing Cho Ziying's killing intent, Hahada and the others were shocked. They were quite frightened by Cho Ziying's thoughts. Chapter 2954. Everyone, I had no choice. Mo Qingyun forced me to do this. Cho Ziying's eyes flashed coldly as he looked at Hahada and the others, releasing a strong, murderous intent. Cho Ziying's figure flashed, and he attacked Hada and the others. Mo Qingyun frowned when he saw this. His expression became serious. If Hahada and the others were killed, Cho Ziying's defection to the Dark Devil clan would be concealed. This was not something he wanted to see. If this was the result, it would be meaningless for him to expose Cho Ziying's actions. No, I have to stop Cho Ziying and save some people. Mo Qingyun made a decision to stop Cho Ziying. Only by getting rid of some people and letting the news spread would Cho Ziying be consigned to eternal damnation. Only then would it be meaningful for him to expose Cho Ziying's actions. Seeing Mo Qingyun's reaction, Zi Xiao guessed what he was thinking. He smiled coldly and said, "Boy, if you want to save them, you have to get past me first." After he finished speaking, he charged at Mo Qingyun. His intention could not be more obvious. As he gazed at Zi Xiao, who charged towards him, the corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth curled up slightly, and he revealed a wisp of a disdainful smile as he said, "Geezer, looks like you really don't have a good memory. Could it be that you've already forgotten that you were imprisoned within the Heaven Seal lightning bell?" Zi Xiao's face twitched when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. Suppressing the panic in his heart, Zi Xiao's face darkened. "Brat, don't be so smug. I was just careless just now. How can I be so easily suppressed by you now?" Lei Muin's figure flashed when she saw Zi Xiao's actions. She arrived in front of Mo Qingyun and said, "Go and rescue them. Leave this person to me." "Okay." Mo Qingyun nodded and disappeared when he saw Lei Muin go to stop Zi Xiao. Very soon, Mo Qingyun entered the prime, clear Buzhou Palace and came to Hahada's side. He said, "Senior Hada, gather everyone here. I will help you leave this place." "All right." Hada didn't waste any time and immediately shouted to the crowd, "Everyone, gather around me. Mr. Mo wants to take care of us and leave." Hearing Harhad's words, everyone's expression immediately changed, and their faces revealed a hint of surprise. They didn't know what method Mo Qingyun was going to use to get them out of here. However, after seeing Mo Qingyun's strange methods, they instinctively chose to believe him. Moreover, in this situation, they had no other choice but to believe in Mo Qingyun. Not long after, the crowd gathered around Harhad, each of them looking at Mo Qingyun expectantly. Seeing everyone's actions, Cho Ziying revealed a cold smile, a smug expression appearing on his face as he said, "It's good that you're all gathered together. It saves me the trouble of hunting you down one by one. I'll directly deal with you all in one move." As Cho Ziying's words fell, he slapped down with his palm, blasting out a palm shadow with a monstrous aura. Seeing Cho Ziying's actions, Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate at all and immediately slashed forward with his sword. "Double time stop." Mo Qingyun slashed out with his sword, and everything within a radius of 100 miles in front of him fell into stillness. Using the double time stop to imprison Cho Ziying's movements, Mo Qingyun instructed Hada and the others, saying, "Give up resisting. I'll take you all out of here." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the surrounding people all looked flustered and instinctively gave up all resistance. However, there were also some people who had doubtful expressions and didn't listen to Mo Qingyun's instructions. Mo Qingyun didn't pay attention to these people's actions. To him, it was enough to take away a portion of the people, not all of them. Swish, swish, swish. In just a moment, those people who gave up resisting all disappeared from their original positions. Seeing these people disappear, those who didn't give up resisting were all stunned. Mo Qingyun's ability once again shocked them. At this time, Mo Qingyun's double time stop was forcefully broken through by Cho Ziying. After regaining his mobility, Cho Ziying didn't stop moving, waving his palm at Mo Qingyun and the others. Mr. Mo, save us." Seeing Cho Ziying's palm shadow coming, the remaining people immediately begged Mo Qingyun for help. Mo Qingyun ignored these people's cries for help. It's too late. Seeing Cho Ziying's palm shadow approaching, Mo Qingyun frowned and immediately urged the Saint Power Pegasus to leave. These people had ended up in this state because of their own choices. Swoosh! Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and disappeared from his original position, coming out of the Buzhou Palace. When Mo Qingyun left, those people were swallowed up by the palm shadows and screamed miserably. Boom! A loud explosion shook the entire Buzhou Palace. The whole Buzhou Palace shook, and the screams stopped abruptly. Those people were killed by a single palm. Mo Qingyun didn't care about those people's life or death, directly moving Haha and the others out of the Fortune mainland. "Everyone, saving you is already my limit," Whether you can survive or not depends on yourselves. After moving Haha and the others out, Mo Qingyun said with a solemn expression, then flew towards Lei Muan. With Mo Qingyun's ability, he could bring them to a safe place and let them leave the Fortune mainland. But if Mo Qingyun did this, their hatred towards the Buzhou Palace would be greatly reduced. Letting them out now would only make them suffer Chou Ziying's pursuit, further increasing their hatred towards Chou Ziying. On top of that, their appearance would also distract Zi Zhao's attention. With them as cover, it would be easier for Mo Qingyun and Lei Muan to leave. Let's go. Coming to Lei Muan's side, Mo Qingyun wrapped his arm around her waist and urged the flying horse to leave. Mo Qingyun and Haha's figures disappeared in a flash, escaping Zi Zhao's perception. Mo Qingyun and Haha's disappearance, coupled with the interference of the people in front of him, Zi Zhao couldn't help but panic. For a moment, he didn't know who to attack, losing the chance to chase after Mo Qingyun. But Zi Zhao wasn't an ordinary person. He quickly regained his composure. Soon after, Zi Zhao unleashed his full strength to attack Haha and the others. Run! Mr. Mo has already left. If we're trapped again, no one will save us. Chou Ziying is crazy, colluding with the Dark Devil race. I must spread the news. Excited words came out from everyone's mouths. Following that, everyone split up and fled in different directions. With everyone fleeing in different directions, even with Zi Zhao's strength, he was a little powerless. Chapter 2955. The escape of a few people caused Zi Zhao's mental state to crumble even further, and he became even more confused. Following that, Zi Zhao stopped attacking and stopped chasing after Hada and the rest. He knew that everything was already set in stone, and there was no way to reverse the situation. Mo Qingyun, if you fall in my hands, I won't let you off. Thinking of how his plans and efforts have been completely destroyed by Mo Qingyun, Zi Zhao gnashed his teeth in anger. Just as Zi Zhao was fuming, he also developed a strong dissatisfaction with Chou Ziying. He shouted angrily, "What a useless piece of trash. You can't even deal with a bunch of trapped turtles." Hearing Zi Zhao's angry shout, Chou Ziying immediately revealed his fear and knelt down in front of Zi Zhao. "Lord Zi Zhao, please calm your anger. This subordinate was only careless for a moment. Please give me another chance. I will definitely make up for this mistake." Make up for it? The situation has already become like this. How do you still want to make up for it? Zi Zhao's expression was dark as he glared at Chou Ziying, questioning him through gritted teeth. Chou Ziying was speechless at Zi Zhao's angry words. His body trembled as he knelt. After reprimanding Chou Ziying, Zi Zhao's mood eased, and he looked towards the Shangqing Buzhou Palace. Seeing Zi Zhao look at the palace, Chou Ziying's expression trembled as he guessed Zi Zhao's thoughts. Based on his understanding of Zi Zhao, now that the Shangqing Buzhou Palace had been exposed, Zi Zhao would definitely destroy it. Just as Chou Ziying was feeling uneasy, Zi Zhao's expression darkened. This place has already been exposed. Leaving it here will only cause trouble. Destroy it completely. Remember, don't leave anyone alive. If you fail again this time, don't blame this old man for being impolite. Yes. Chou Ziying's face was full of panic as he nodded shakily at Zi Zhao's order. Then, Chou Ziying flew towards the Shangqing Buzhou Palace with a vicious expression. Entering the palace, Chou Ziying didn't waste any words and immediately slaughtered his own disciples. Chou Ziying, have you gone mad? You actually slaughtered your own disciples. Why did you do this? Sectmaster, please spare us. Chou Ziying, you deranged fellow, can you face your dead ancestors? Voices of criticism came from the Buzhou Palace of the prime, clear lineage. Chou Ziying turned a deaf ear to the criticism of the people around him and continued to slaughter his own people. He knew very well that if he did not make a move, Zi Zhao would have done the same. At that time, not only would his disciples die, but he would also die. Now that he was personally taking action, he could at least save his own life. Several hours later, There was no one left alive in the enormous Buzhou palace of the Shangqing dynasty. After killing all the people of the prime, clear Buzhou palace, Qiu Ziying emptied the treasury before returning to Zizhao's side. Qiu Ziying respectfully asked for instructions. Lord Zizhao, everything has been settled. What should we do now? Do you want to destroy the true, absolute beginning Devil Hall? At this moment, Qiu Ziying's hatred for Mo Qingyun had reached an unprecedented level. In his opinion, if it wasn't for Mo Qingyun, the high clear Buzhou palace wouldn't have suffered such a calamity. There's no hurry to destroy the true, absolute beginning Devil Hall. There are more important things to do. Hearing Qiu Ziying's request, Zizhao directly refused and said, "There's only a little more than half a month left before the Purple Heaven Holy Land opens. I want to enter the Purple Heaven Holy Land to try my luck and strive to recover my strength to the level of a great sage." Yes, Qiu Ziying was delighted. He was no stranger to the Purple Heaven sacred ground. Back then, they had ambushed and killed Lame Yuan's father in the Purple Heaven sacred ground. After instructing Qiu Ziying, Zizhao wasted no more time and hurried to the Purple Heaven sacred ground. On an uninhabited, withered continent, a white light flashed and 3 figures appeared on the desolate continent. They were a young man and a beautiful woman riding a white horse. This place should be safe. The young man glanced around and his expression relaxed. He said, "Muwan, you've just broken through and haven't had time to stabilize your realm yet. You've been hurrying on with your journey, and then you've experienced a great battle. Your foundation has been shaken. You have to cultivate and stabilize your realm immediately." Okay. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words of concern, Lame Yuan nodded and said, "You've used up a lot of your saint power in the battle. You should cultivate and recover as soon as possible." Okay. Mo Qingyun nodded. Then, the two sat down cross-legged to cultivate and recover the saint power they had used in the battle. Time flew by quickly as the two of them cultivated. In the blink of an eye, several days had passed. After several days of cultivation, Mo Qingyun had completely recovered the saint power he had used up. After recovering his saint power, Mo Qingyun stopped cultivating and sensed Lame Yuan's situation. Yuan's cultivation has stabilized. After sensing for a while, Mo Qingyun had a clear understanding of Lame Yuan's situation. Not long after, Lame Yuan opened her beautiful eyes and stopped cultivating. Seeing Lame Yuan stop cultivating, Mo Qingyun's expression relaxed. He smiled faintly at her and said, "If nothing goes wrong, Buzhou Palace should be destroyed. What do you plan to do next?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Lame Yuan showed a thoughtful expression. After thinking for a while, Lame Yuan showed a determined expression and said, "Father's body hasn't been found. I plan to go to Purple Heaven Sanctuary and see if I can find Father's remains. I'll go with you." Knowing Lame Yuan's thoughts, Mo Qingyun made the decision without hesitation to enter Purple Heaven Sanctuary. Lame Yuan did not object to Mo Qingyun's decision and nodded gratefully. After Lame Yuan voiced her thoughts, she thought for a while before saying, "Based on my calculations, there are still about 10 days before the Purple Heaven Holy Land opens. Let's hurry over." Okay. Mo Qingyun responded and rushed to Purple Heaven Sanctuary with Lame Yuan. While Mo Qingyun and Lame Yuan were rushing, Hahada and the others spread the news about Buzhou Palace's actions. After knowing about Buzhou Palace's actions, various forces immediately formed an alliance and started to encircle and annihilate Buzhou Palace. But what surprised them was that when they arrived at Buzhou Palace had already been destroyed. Facing such an outcome, everyone was surprised but happy to see it. The destruction of Prime Clear's Buzhou Palace also saved them some trouble. Seeing that the Prime Clear Buzhou Palace was destroyed, everyone's attention shifted, landing on the Purple Heaven Holy Land. This was because there had always been a rumor that entering Purple Heaven Sanctuary would increase the chances of breaking through to the Great Emperor Realm. Chapter 2956. Half a month's time passed very quickly. After half a month of traveling, Mo Qing-yun and Lei Yun arrived at a purple void. Mo Qing-yun scanned the area and found that the area in front of them was shrouded in a purple mist. Is this the purple heaven holy land? Looking at the boundless purple fog, Mo Qing-yun's face was filled with shock. He was shocked by the scene before him. The vastness of the purple heaven holy land was far beyond his imagination. Looking at the boundless purple area, Lei Yun said with a serious face, "The last time we came here, the purple mist area in front of us was only 1 billion miles. I didn't expect it to grow to 10 billion miles this time." After hearing Lei Yun's words, Mo Qing-yun was shocked. He looked at Lei Yun in shock and said, "You mean that the purple mist area in front of us will continue to expand?" "Yes." Lei Yun nodded and said with a nervous expression, "The purple mist is very strange. After the demonic beasts enter it, they will undergo a strange mutation and their strength will increase greatly. Now that the purple mist area has expanded, the demonic beasts that enter it may be stronger than before. When we enter it later, we must be careful of the demonic beast's sneak attack." Hearing Lei Yun's words, Mo Qing-yun's face tensed up and he immediately became vigilant. Since Lei Yun said so, the demonic beasts hiding in the purple mist must be very powerful. "Let's go in." After reminding Mo Qing-yun, Lei Yun moved and flew into the purple mist. Seeing Lei Yun fly forward, Mo Qing-yun followed closely behind her and entered the purple mist together. The purple mist area is too vast. It's easy for us to get lost. We have to think of a way to solve this problem. After entering the purple mist area, Mo Qing-yun's face was tense as he reminded Lei Yun beside him. Hearing Mo Qing-yun's reminder, Lei Yun's face turned serious. She pondered for a while and said, "I've thought of this before, but the purple mist area is too vast. It's too difficult to implement. Let me try." After Mo Qing-yun finished speaking, he took out the divine sword of 9 bulls and gathered a sharp saint energy. Then, he waved the divine sword of 9 bulls and blasted out a sword chi. The sword chi flew for a distance and hung in the purple mist area, emitting a dazzling golden light. Seeing Mo Qing-yun's actions, Lei Yun immediately revealed a puzzled expression and said, "Using the sword energy as a guide? If the sword energy dissipates, then wouldn't it be a waste of effort? Don't worry, the sword chi I condensed won't dissipate so easily." Mo Qing-yun smiled faintly at Lei Yun's worry and gave her a reassuring look. Seeing Mo Qing-yun say this, Lei Yun didn't understand, but she still chose to believe Mo Qing-yun. Next, Mo Qing-yun condensed sword chi as a guide as he advanced with Lei Yun. As Mo Qing-yun and Lei Yun advanced, some beasts hidden in the purple mist area appeared before them. These beasts weren't particularly high in cultivation. They weren't even at the Sector Lord realm, but their tenacity far exceeded Mo Qing-yun's understanding. After killing a group of beasts, Mo Qing-yun was shocked. He couldn't help but sigh. A mere universe realm cultivation, but their vitality is comparable to an early Sector Lord. These beasts are indeed strange. While Mo Qing-yun was shocked, he was also worried. Universe realm beasts were already so terrifying. What would a Sector Lord realm be like? If they encountered a half-step Great Emperor, Boundary Emperor, or Great Emperor realm beasts, wouldn't it be difficult for them to even escape? Seeing Mo Qing-yun's invitation, Lei Yun could guess what he was thinking. She comforted him and said, "Although the demonic beasts in the purple mist region have strong vitality, their realms aren't too high. The strongest among them are only at the initial Sector Lord realm." "That's good." Hearing this, Mo Qing-yun's expression relaxed a lot. Then, they unhurriedly ventured deeper into the purple mist area. With sword chi guiding the way, Mo Qing-yun and Lei Yun didn't lose their way even though they kept killing. "Your sword chi is really strange. It's actually indestructible. Seeing that Mo Qingyun's sword energy was different, Lame Yuan revealed a look of shock and astonishment. Seeing that Lame Yuan was curious, Mo Qingyun didn't hide it and explained to her, "I have a special ability that allows my attacks to be indestructible." "I see." Lame Yuan nodded in understanding. As for what ability it was, she didn't ask. After knowing the uniqueness of sword qi, Lame Yuan's worries were completely dispelled. In the following time, Mo Qingyun and Lame Yuan went deeper into the purple mist area. About a few hours later, as Mo Qingyun and Lame Yuan rushed, they saw a continent. It was the purple heaven's sacred ground. At this moment, there were many people gathered near the purple heaven's sacred ground. They were thinking of ways to enter the purple heaven sacred ground. Mo Qingyun scanned the front and saw a familiar face. It was Harhad, who they had separated from a few days ago. When Mo Qingyun saw Hauda in front of him, he immediately flew towards him, wanting to ask him about the current situation. "Little Mo, Senior Mo, Home Master Lei." Seeing Mo Qingyun and Lame Yuan approaching, Harhad was shocked and bowed. Seeing Harhad's action, Mo Qingyun quickly raised his hand and helped him up. "Senior, there's no need to be so polite." After helping Harhad up, Mo Qingyun didn't beat around the bush and asked him directly, "Senior, is there anything wrong with you guys surrounding the purple heaven sacred ground and not entering?" It's indeed a little unusual. The opening of the purple heaven sacred ground this time seems to be a little different from before. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Harhad's expression tensed up. He began to explain the situation he knew. In the past, when the purple heaven's sacred ground appeared, a passage would appear very quickly. However, this time, the passage didn't appear. Boom! At this moment, as Mo Qingyun and the others were talking, a loud noise suddenly came from the continent in front. Following that, the crowd saw the continent shaking violently. As the continent shook violently, a huge crack appeared in the space it was in. After the crack appeared, a pure and powerful energy escaped from the crack. Sensing the appearance of the energy, Harhad was overjoyed and said excitedly, This is the purple heaven sacred energy. I didn't expect the purple heaven sacred energy to reach such a level." After Harhad finished speaking, his figure flashed and flew towards a crack. Chapter 29:57. This power is indeed very pure. However, compared to the primordial energy, it's of a lower level. Mo Qingyun came close to the crack and carefully sensed the purple heavenly saint energy. He was disappointed. The purple heavenly saint energy that everyone regarded as a treasure was not that precious to him. Compared to Mo Qingyun's disappointment, Lame Yuan was pleasantly surprised. She said excitedly, "Qingyun, the purple heavenly saint energy is of a very high level. If we refine it, we can improve the quality of our saint energy, and our strength will change." Mo Qingyun was not surprised by Lame Yuan's reaction. After all, she had never seen the primordial energy before. "The purple heavenly saint energy is useless to me. You can refine it and cultivate. I'll protect you." Looking at the excited Lame Yuan, Mo Qingyun smiled at her and sat down beside her. Hearing Mo Qingyun's answer, Lame Yuan did not ask further, although she was puzzled. After knowing Mo Qingyun for so long, she was not surprised by Mo Qingyun's mysteriousness. Lame Yuan nodded. She sat down and cultivated, absorbing the purple heavenly saint energy around her. Under Lame Yuan's absorption, the purple heavenly saint energy around her immediately gathered towards her. In just a moment, the purple heavenly saint energy that gathered around Lame Yuan turned into a huge whirlpool. However, Mo Qingyun frowned unhappily when he saw this. He said, "This absorption speed is still a little too slow. Even if I try my best to refine it, I won't be able to refine much of the purple heavenly saint energy. I have to help move on." Mo Qingyun made a decision as he thought about it. He raised his hand and waved it in the air. Dark swallowing heaven gate. Soon, a black light gate with an eerie aura formed above Emochinyan. Once the dark, swallowing heaven gate was formed, it released a terrifying, devouring power and devoured the purple heavenly saint energy around it. In just a short while, the dark, swallowing heaven gate had devoured almost 70% of the purple heavenly saint energy that escaped from the crack. After snatching nearly 70% of the purple firmament sacred power, Emochinyan did not hesitate at all and immediately injected it into Lei Muin's body. Haha is half a step away from breaking through to the great Emperor realm. Let me help him. Sensing Haha's situation, Emochinyan made a decision and gave him another portion of the purple heavenly saint energy. Sensing the purple firmament saint energy entering his body, Haoda's expression immediately shook, and his face revealed an intense look of shock. Then, he looked at Emochinyan, his face filled with shock and gratitude. Don't be distracted. We'll talk about other things after you break through to the Emperor realm. Seeing Harhad's actions, Emochinyan immediately instructed him. Hearing Emochinyan's words, Ha did not distract himself and immediately focused on breaking through to the next level. Just then, the people cultivating around them sensed that something was wrong with the purple heavenly saint energy. Soon after, they withdrew from their cultivation and looked around with puzzled expressions. When they saw the dark heaven-devouring gate, they were all shocked. At the same time, they were furious. 80% of the purple heavenly saint energy that escaped from the crack had been absorbed by the dark swallowing heaven gate. If that was the case, how much of the purple firmament's sacred power would be left for them to cultivate? Who is it? Who is using such a superpower to steal the purple heavenly saint energy that escaped? This superpower is from that guy. What a greedy guy. We have to stop him. Otherwise, we won't be able to get any purple heavenly saint energy. Seeing Emochinyan's actions, everyone was unhappy and looked at Emochinyan with hatred. Sensing everyone's gazes, Emochinyan didn't care at all. He stood there calmly. The purple heavenly saint energy seems to have decreased a lot. When Emochinyan looked at the people around him, he was also paying attention to the crack and immediately noticed the change in the purple heavenly saint energy. Sensing the situation, Emochinyan had a plan. He immediately said to Lei Muin, Muin, the purple heavenly saint energy is decreasing. It's meaningless to continue fighting. Activate the purple heavenly lightning bell to protect yourself. Don't disturb your refining of the purple heavenly saint energy while I'm dealing with these troubles. Okay. Hearing Emochinyan's instructions, Lei Muin summoned the purple heavenly lightning bell. As the purple heavenly lightning bell was summoned, it covered Lei Muin. Even if he breaks through to the Emperor realm, he can't be disturbed by the outside world. Sensing Haha's situation, Lei Muin hesitated for a moment before covering him. She could see that Emochinyan and Haha had a good relationship. Otherwise, Emochinyan would not have snatched the purple heavenly saint energy to help Haha break through to the Emperor realm. Seeing that Haha was also covered, Emochinyan's expression relaxed, and he revealed a satisfied smile. Just now, he was only concerned about Lei Muin and neglected Haha. After he was done, Emochinyan turned his head to look at the people around him with an indifferent expression. Seeing that Emochinyan was calm and did not show any fear, the people around him felt a little guilty. For a moment, they looked at each other. Some of them could not see through Emochinyan. Everyone looked at each other. Then a half-step martial emperor slowly walked over to Emochinyan and said, Little boy, let this old man give you a piece of advice. If your appetite is too big, you will end up stuffing yourself to death. Hand over the purple firmament sacred energy that you snatched, and this old man can guarantee your survival. Chapter 2958. Scram. Emochinyan's expression turned cold as he saw Elder Baiqiong approaching. He slashed at him with his sword. Then, a sharp sword radiance blasted out from the nine-bowled divine sword. The sword radiance flashed and blocked Elder by Qiong's path, causing him to pause slightly. "You're just a mantis trying to stop a chariot." Seeing Mo Qingyun's resistance, Elder by Qiong curled his lips in disdain and slapped at the sword radiance. As Elder by Qiong waved his hand, a terrifying wave of saint power began to gather on his palm. Then, Elder by Qiong waved his hand and blasted out a huge palm shadow, which collided with the sword radiance. What surprised everyone was that when the palm shadow and the sword radiance collided, there was no energy fluctuation at all. Before everyone could react, they saw the sword radiance mysteriously pierce through the palm shadow. The sword radiance pierced through the palm shadow, but its attack did not decrease at all. It continued to attack Elder by Qiong. What's going on? Elder by Qiong was terrified when he saw the sword radiance piercing through the palm shadow and continuing to attack him. Elder by Qiong did not dare to be careless and immediately dodged the sword radiance's attack. Just as Elder by Qiong was about to dodge, a cold voice sounded. "Old man, where do you think you're going? Take another attack from me." As soon as he finished speaking, Elder by Qiong sensed that his path of retreat was blocked by a sword radiance. Elder by Qiong's face paled when he saw this. His eyes flashed with fear. He had nowhere to run. He could only take the sword radiance head-on. "Kid, you're looking down on me too much. Do you really think I can't block your sword radiance?" Elder by Qiong's face twisted when he saw that he had nowhere to run. He slapped at the sword radiance in front of him. But what shocked Elder by Qiong was that even though he used all his strength, he still could not disperse the sword radiance. The sword radiance pierced through the palm shadow and smashed into Elder by Qiong's body, exploding with a terrifying power. Slash! A hideous wound appeared on Elder by Qiong's chest after being hit by the sword radiance. Elder by Qiong's body flew backward. He spat out a large mouthful of blood, and his aura rapidly weakened. Seeing Elder by Qiong's pitiful state, the surrounding people were all stunned, and they all stood rooted to the ground. The experts who were rushing towards Mo Qingyun also stopped and looked at Mo Qingyun with fear. This scene came so quickly that they were not prepared at all. Am I seeing things? That kid injured Elder by Qiong with a single sword strike? Although it was a bit unexpected, that boy's strength is indeed extremely frightening. No wonder he's not afraid at all. His true battle prowess is already close to the half-step martial emperor realm. The onlooker's side. After seeing Mo Qingyun's strength, everyone immediately dispelled their thoughts about him. Seeing everyone's fear, Elder by Qiong did not dare to attack again. He wanted to retreat. "This kid is too strong. I'm not his match. I have to leave this place immediately." Elder by Qiong knew very well that if he continued to oppose Mo Qingyun, he might very well die here. Since he wanted to retreat, Elder by Qiong did not dare to stay any longer. He turned around and prepared to escape. "Where do you think you're going?" Seeing that Elder by Qiong was about to escape, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold and immediately chased after him. When Mo Qingyun chased after him, he also released the Law of Time reversal to prevent Elder by Qiong from escaping. Under the Law of Time reversal, Elder by Qiong returned to his original position after taking a step. Seeing this, Elder by Qiong's expression trembled and his eyes were filled with panic. "Brother, spare!" Seeing that he could not escape, Elder by Qiong immediately pleaded with Mo Qingyun. However, Mo Qingyun completely ignored his pleas and slashed down at him with his sword. Lame Yuan nodded and took out a map, saying, "This is the map of the Purple Sky Saint Land that I bought from a merchant association. Although it only depicts a part of the Purple Sky Saint Land, it should be of some help to us." As Lame Yuan spoke, she opened the map. According to the description on the map, there is a secret trove 7,000 miles to the east of us. After glancing at the map, Mo Qingyun raised his right hand and pressed on the pagoda mark on the map. Seeing the position Mo Qingyun was pointing at, Lei Yuan nodded and said, "Since that's the case, let's start from here and explore the purple sky Saint Land bit by bit." All right. After Mo Qingyun and Lei Yuan finished their discussion, they put away the map and headed to the nearest treasury. A distance of 7,000 miles was nothing to Mo Qingyun and Lei Yuan. In just a short while, Mo Qingyun and Lei Yuan arrived. What a strange building. Looking at the huge palace in front of them, Lei Yuan frowned, curiosity flashing in her eyes. While Lei Yuan revealed a curious expression, she also had a strange feeling. She said, "Strange, this is clearly my first time here, but why does this palace give me a feeling that it's especially familiar?" Hearing Lei Yuan's words, Mo Qingyun was shocked and looked at Lei Yuan curiously. Chapter 2960. Let's go in and take a look. We should be able to find the answer. Filled with confusion, Mo Qingyun took the lead and walked into the palace. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Lei Yuan did not hesitate and followed behind him. After entering the palace, Missouri Qingyun felt an ancient and vicissitude aura. Apart from that, Mo Qingyun was also surprised to feel a sense of familiarity. When this strange feeling appeared, Mo Qingyun frowned and muttered to himself in confusion, "Strange, why do I feel the same as you? Why do I feel a sense of familiarity here?" "You also feel the same?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Lei Yuan was shocked and opened her eyes wide. She didn't expect that Mo Qingyun would also have this feeling. This was very strange. Let's take a look around first. Nodding at Lei Yuan, Mo Qingyun walked into the palace to see what he could find. The palace was not very big. There were 3 floors in total, and each floor only had a few rooms. Each room was very messy, and the furniture was scattered all over the floor. If he was not mistaken, someone must have been here and taken away the valuable items. After a while, Mo Qingyun walked through the entire palace, but did not find anything. "It seems like I can only go to the next hidden chamber." After not finding anything in the palace, Missouri Qingyun came out. Following behind Mo Qingyun, Lei Yuan took out the map and chose the next destination. After scanning through the map, Mo Qingyun had a new target and decided on the next secret trove that he wanted to go to. Purple Punishment Chamber. Looking at the name marked on the map, Mo Qingyun revealed a curious expression. He felt a sense of anticipation and said, "This place is marked with a name. It must not be an ordinary place. Let's go take a look." "Okay." Lei Yuan nodded and put away the map. Then, Mo Qingyun and Lei Yuan rushed towards the Purple Punishment Chamber. The journey to the Purple Punishment Chamber was a bit far. Mo Qingyun and Lei Yuan took half an hour to arrive at the Purple Punishment Chamber. The Purple Punishment Chamber was very magnificent. It was built with a purple crystal and emitted a noble aura. This Purple Punishment Chamber is indeed not simple. Let's go in and take a look. After briefly looking at the Purple Punishment Chamber, Mo Qingyun walked forward and entered the Purple Punishment Chamber. As soon as he entered the Purple Punishment Hall, that familiar feeling appeared once again. When this feeling appeared, Mo Qingyun looked at Lei Yuan and discovered that she was frowning. She was probably feeling the same as him. "Please save us. Don't let the sacred fire." After walking for a while in the Purple Punishment Chamber, a baby-like pleading voice suddenly appeared in Mo Qingyun's mind. Hearing the voice in his mind, Mo Qingyun jumped in fright, and his expression instantly tensed up. Seeing that Lei Yuan didn't know either, Mo Qingyun didn't think too much and said, "Tell me, how can I save you? I can sense a warm aura coming from your body. It can increase your endurance." Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, the flame on the purple crystal let out a baby-like voice. After getting the answer, Mo Qingyun nodded in understanding. He knew why she had come to find him. If I'm not wrong, she must have come to find me because of the fire of civilization. With a thought, Mo Qingyun condensed a ball of flame in his palm. He faced the flame on the purple crystal and said, The warm aura you're talking about, is it emitted by this? Yes. The flame jumped a few times and let out a baby-like voice. After getting this answer, Mo Qingyun raised his right hand and sent the fire of civilization to the purple flame. Then, Mo Qingyun saw the fire of civilization being devoured by the flame on the purple crystal. After devouring the fire of civilization, the flame on the purple crystal was obviously stronger. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate and fed at the fire of civilization again. End of chapter. That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.